2, 1. And we are live! Hi, everybody! Sorry I'm a little late, both 30 minutes, because my computer decided to multi-crash and then also get rid of my work for the thumbnail. And then I also had to realize I needed to quickly run a dungeon because I was not level 70, which would be a problem for running dark for Shadowbringers. Jellybean, reminder, no spoilers. We mean anything from Endwalker, any major reveal from any expansion. Well, we're getting close. Only having to say Endwalkers at this point. If you want to have it spoiled for you, don't spoil it for others. Welcome to 69, y'all. Nice. I was at 69 when I had to level up to 70. Ray, good to see you, glad to have you. Jellybean, good to have you. Lolly ho, Jellybean. Dez, good to see you, glad to have you. Nice, Lolly working. We'll try to come in on breaks. Well, always love it when you can't make it, Dez. Tracy, good to see you, glad to have you. But I enjoy a good snicker. Willow, good to see you, glad to have you. I know you're still feeling like death, but I hope you're feeling good. I hope this at least helps some. Yeah, doing good, Tracy. Hope you are too. Raven, good to see you, glad to have you. Episode 69. Nice. Yeah, it's where we're starting Shadowbringers. Definitely intentional. Daniel, good to see you, glad to have you. 1 brings shadow, 1 brings the light. 2 toned echoes, tumbling through time. 3 score wasted, 10 cast aside. 4-fold knowing, no end in sight. Stuart, good to see you, glad to have you. Voltharian, good to see you, glad to have you. Just started Endwalker, loving it so far. Awesome, Stuart. Yeah, I'm quite a fan of Endwalker. I have said many a good thing about it, so I hope you enjoy. We're running late today, so maybe a little before we get started. Yes, Ray, thanks for catching that. I hope you enjoyed, Stuart. I wish I could experience it Endwalker blind again. Only completed last June. Yeah, I wish I could experience it blind, but part of experiencing it blind for me would be experiencing it the way I experienced it in the first place, which I can never happen again because I was like at the end of the game on like morning 3, like 2 a.m. of day 3 of it being out. So like no one was there, which greatly affected how map 6 goes down. It's okay, Ray. Us T people are nothing if not patient and wholesome. Oh, Daniel, thank you. I will say I have been weirdly short, not tempered, but just like weirdly, I don't know. I've been weird. My emotions have been weird. Maybe it's just because it's like still the winter. I'm just not getting enough sunlight or something. Jolly, good to see you, glad to have you. How's everyone doing today? I'm doing pretty good. Excited to do Shadowbringers. Patience, I hope it's nothing serious. Ray knows no mercy. No, she doesn't. She has endlessly poked at me for my hononyms and spelling errors as well. So you're in good company, Daniel. Sarah, good to see you, glad to have you. Chris, good to see you, glad to have you. How you doing? Yeah, everyone's excited for Shadowbringers. 1 brings shadow, 1 brings the light. Daniel's just a Pokemon and just keeps saying 1 brings shadow, 1 brings the light. Hi, Dr. Nick. Demids, good to see you, glad to have you. Zatch, good to see you, glad to have you. Decoy, good to see you, glad to have you. Get ready for the fields, yeah. Throw wide the gates. Hello, Purple, good to see you, glad to have you. Has it been that long? I feel like it's only been like, what, a week or 2? Maybe time just flies for me. Okay, but guys, let us get started. And by that I mean actually let me. First, before we go into Shadowbringers, we have to do the last quest of Dark Knight, which is highly appropriate as we go into Shadowbringers. Partially because the Dark Knight quests, if you don't know, are written by why is it always when I start stream I all of a sudden get a little phlegm in my throat? Natsuko Ishikawa. She wrote the Dark Knight quest as well as the Shadowbringers and Endwalker stories, or was the primary writer on them. How's all the audio, by the way? Sounding good? Audio goes good so far? Cool. Sounds good, sounds good, sounds good. Okay, cool. I always like to check in case I accidentally change my settings. Okay, guys. Who's ready for emotions? And we haven't even started the MSQ yet. Gods damn it, Mist. We're going to have to track him down and make him return the remainder of the Aether he stole from you, aren't we? He said that when he was finished, naught would remain of him. Bloody vague and ominous, to say the least. We'll just have to press him for answers when you find him. You last saw him at Rolger's Reach in Giribania, yes? We'll start there. I'm going to, and I won't take no for an answer. Sid's gotten better, but he's a long way from fully recovered. Besides, you'll need someone else to help you do the talking. Sid's no good at it. Oh, Gian Kimuria, I will miss you so when we are done with this. You may have ruined the sensibility, the overall melancholic feel that it's supposed to be going for, but your love for Sidurgu lives on. Amen. Okay, go. So top has been cleared. Oh, who cleared it? Was it Neverland? Funny part with Summoner Machine is no less. I mean, yeah, because like it's about most of the time in almost everything. I mean, everything can clear. Like some things have certain advantages, but also Machinist now has party utility, and also Summoner's not terrible, especially if you're gonna get that extra. Hey, if that extra res got you to clear, you know, from a Summoner, then fuck you. Doesn't matter if your DPS is lower. You know, you can bring a Black Mage all you want, but if it's not enough, then RIP. Good to see. Glad to have you. 69, indeed. Someday that guy will need a reboot. Yeah. So it's finally been finished. We're starting to panic on. People were starting to panic on. Really? It hasn't even been a week. Why were people panicking? What's that? You're looking for the boy too, are you? I was watching some birds late the other night when I hear someone skulking about behind me. Forgive me, I hear him saying before he runs off and disappears into the dark. Then I realize it's too quiet, eh? Sleeping birds make noise and mine ain't, because they're dead. Every last one of them. No wounds or any other obvious marks, but there they lay, like the life was sucked right out of them. I don't know how or why he did it, but there's no denying that he did. I demand recompense. If you find him, you bring him to me. Unnamed, got it. Nope, by a group called Unnamed. Interesting. Was it streamed or was that in private? But what was their name? Says Ray Ray. Ah, yes, I remember the long-haired boy. Very curious with many questions about the nature of Aether. That's just me? Well, I guess my hair's not very long anymore. He conversed with one of the Adder conjurers for a time. I know not what they discussed, but from his expression, I gathered it was important. They got the Abysso clear first as well. Nice. Xian, good to see, glad to have you. And no video yet. It was private. Yeah. I understand. I deeply understand why people do that. It does make me sad. Like, I know the reasons. There's no counter argument to the reasons why they private them and private logs and stuff. Because like, if you're fighting for the first clear, you don't want to give away what you're figuring out. But also, it makes me sad that we don't get to see the world first live. Looking for a boy with long blue hair, you say. Reckon I wouldn't remember someone like that if they were to come this way, and I don't. Spoke with a fella before me during the change into the guard, as we do, and he made no mention of anyone matching that description either. Xian, if I'm asking to, so I appreciate it, but if I'm asking to power like speed level, like speed dungeon, what I'm saying is I've got about 30 minutes. We need to clear 2 dungeons in 30 minutes, and also that was for helping before stream's going on now, so I appreciate it, but I don't need a hand anymore. Thank you. I hope we get a video soon. Yeah, me too. I'd love to see. Anyone know like where like Haps or any of the streamers are up to? Has anyone reached like past the stage where it's all 3? Our inspector returns. Tell us, have you learned aught of Mist's whereabouts? Seen conversing with a conjurer, possibly killing chocobos. Not sure what to make of that. Though we can be sure he stayed here for a time. But perhaps no longer. We learned but the moments ago from Gillo here that the boy matching Mist's description was seen leaving the Reach. He is for the peaks, and so are we. So for those of you who don't remember, because you weren't here for the rest of the Dark Knight quest, there was a boy named Mist. He showed up, and right before he showed up, our soul crystal cracked in 2. When he showed up, he also has the power to basically create fake versions of people's loved ones based on their own memories of them. And has been going around trying to help people, but is getting more and more distraught as he fails to really help them much. Ultimately. He then ran away, and now we're trying to find him. Because he said that if we helped him, he would fix my soul crystal. However, he has disappeared. Let us read. Sid is unsure. If you don't know, Dark Knight quest log is always written in the first, or not, maybe not always, but I think always written in the first person. Sid is unsure what to make of what we learned, though it seems fairly obvious to me what mischief the boy's been about, and you too, I hope. Anyways, it would seem that Mist was seen leaving the Reach and heading towards the peak. The hunt is on. Who cleared raid? Yes. Oh, fuck. I should just go do the other one, the other exit. Elio, an update on my Warriors 80, and I finished leveling my Astro, too. Nice! You're gonna level it to 90? From there? There's a lot of good ways to level to 90. I mean, heck, there's a lot of good ways to level in this game. So, for those of you who have already played Shadowbringers, which I'm pretty sure is all of you, how did you guys feel when you had reached this point in the story and you were about to go into it? For those of you who had it hyped up by others, for those of you who were going in blind, especially with how 5.5 ends, I'd love to hear your different thoughts and emotions, because I know, like, everyone broadly loves Shadowbringers, right? But I feel like people's relationship with it differs greatly based on a lot of context. No visible injuries or bleeding, aye. It is as Ryle says. These beasts died for no discernible reason, just like the chocobos that man the Reach claims Mist somehow killed. But it doesn't add up. Other than a singular magic, Mist was utterly helpless. Unless, was he always capable of this? You could say it was a mystery. But we know the answer already. He stole your Aether when we first met. Even if he could do it, even if he did do it, why? We'll ask him when we find him, and this time you'll let me do the talking. Search the east. Ryle and I will head south. We'll meet you in between if we find not, and if we do, either you will come to our aid or we to yours. Ban him from his own stream! Replace him with Deadpool. I bet Deadpool could clear top. I bet Deadpool could clear DSR. Has there been any say? I guess the only team that's cleared, we don't know what their statements on. But I wonder if ultimately top will be considered easier or harder than DSR. I mean, it seems like people broadly think easier because of certain cadence of it, but it doesn't seem easy. As you survey your surroundings, you observe naught out of the ordinary. But on the edge of hearing, you hear a whisper to the southwest. If only Jade was here. Jade would have thoughts, I'm sure. Deadpool plays 14. You guys would love that. If I could find a way to make him do that, you would love that. Don't you lie. I was excited to see what was happening. Was that any less true though, Tracy, going in from Heavensward into Stormblood? I was so excited when I finally got to Shadowbringers between 4.5 and all the hype everyone had built up. I was so giddy. Yeah, see, that's the interesting thing to me about Shadowbringers is that so many people who have come into the game since 5.x basically have had Shadowbringers hyped up before they even get to it. So a lot of people aren't going in blind. Okay, here we go. Ryan, good to see you, glad to have you. 7 hells, I hate being right. On your guard, Mist has shown his true colors. The Aether, or whatever else he took from those beasts, has given him tremendous strength. Contrary to his earlier warnings, conjuring another simulacrum wasn't the end of him. And of all the wonderful people he had to pluck from our memories, he chose Ystria de Culiana. He knows why we're here, and this is his answer. He summoned the monster that haunts Ryle in her dreams and sends her screaming from her bed. Forgive me, Sid, but you give me no choice. Oh, this is hard. Say your name, your real name, or there's always a choice. Fuck. The answer to the mystery or the what we stand for? I'm gonna go with what we stand for. There's always a choice. No, there isn't. Not really. Can you even remember why you came here? Can you even remember how many you killed? How many lives shattered? How many stories ended? Upon the surface of the crystal are carved the sins of a dark night's past, and yours are beyond counting, beyond fathoming, without end. Justice is an excuse, nobility is a lie, and murder is murder. And though we are most definitely not without fault, it is the cruel and different world which has made murderers of us all. But we need not suffer. We need suffer no longer. I sought to make these broken souls whole, one by one, when in truth the solution was much more simple. A world beyond pain and suffering, and anguish and despair. A world beyond death. A world in which we never need bid farewell to our dearest friends. I'm just gonna say, for those of you who have played Endwalker, maybe Ishikawa has some themes she likes to repeat. And how many beasts will you need to kill to make the world of yours? How much Aether will you consume to see it through? Bloody self-righteous sophistry from a mewling whelp. So your brilliant plan is to fill the world with simulacra of the dead, is it? And somehow that's supposed to make everyone happy? Well, you're right about one thing, I'll grant you that. This world is brutal, uncaring, without logic or justice. No justice but that which we make for ourselves. And I'll be damned if I give it up so you can force your illusions upon us to assuage your guilt. Did you not find comfort in your reunion with your master? Even though you knew it was a lie, did it not help you to unburden your soul, to find a measure of peace in this madness? I am not your enemy, not then or now. I will not fight you. All I ask is that you leave me due to my duty. It's never too late to turn back. You're still a good person. You can still be a good person. So this is your answer. Maybe you cannot accept what needs to be done, but I can. Goodbye. Red, good to see you, glad to have you. Ours is the greatest lie of all. We have to end it. I remember every face. They are watching and waiting. Notice the people that we're killing. Or the shades that they're summoning. Shades of who's past. I'd like to point out his death was not our fault. That was on him. Okay, hers was. That was on us. Also Rattatan's. Okay, not exactly on us, but self-defense. So many broken by this world, and then by you. So many. Woe betide the man who stands opposed to the weapon of light, for death will be his reward. Death for him and his kin and all that he holds dear. Also think about, like, that's how the Garleans see the Warrior of Light, right? This is a line encapsulates it. Woe betide the man who stands with the weapon of light, for death will be his reward. Death for him and his kin and all that he holds dear. Like sands through the hourglass, everything we fight so desperately to protect slips through our fingers. And what remains? What remains? Is us. Only us, and the memory of our sin. To walk this path is to suffer, to sacrifice. Listen to my voice. Listen to our heartbeat. Justice demands no less. And still we stand against it. Serve, save, slave, slay. I've sins aplenty, aye, but regrets, not so much. Return of the boy. And if you wouldn't listen to me, the embodiment of good sense and pragmatism, then what hope could you possibly have? A house divided cannot stand, you know. This childish rebellion ends now. What in the seven hells is this? A compromise, I suppose. Our dear friend here refused to let me take the reins, but I wasn't about to stand idly by while the imbecile tries to do whatever it was he was trying to do. No hard feelings about White Brim, eh? Promise not to stab you in the back again. It'll be just like old times. A dark knight needs a sword. Take mine. No, no, this is wrong. This is all wrong. I offer you peace, restitution, a chance to make amends. Do not think you are above it. Do not think that a reckoning will be postponed indefinitely. When it comes, I shall welcome it with open arms. But today will not be that day. You will not be the judged. We will not be the judged. You will not be the judge. God, I love Torn from the Heavens. So, both sides. We deal with the dross, then the boy. Simple and plain. So Frey is standing with us now, the other side of our soul. Look on the faces of your victims. They are legion. Mist is all our self-doubt. Again and again you kill. Do you feel nothing? You know my heart. It bleeds like any other. These are the sides of us ourselves at war. But you, boy, I deny. Yours is the coward's way. On the throne of bone he awaits. Dug deep for those magnificent bastards, did ya? But lest you forget, we bested them before. What? Why won't they answer? He's grown too weak to summon more shades. Falls silent, and the abyss. Finish it, Elio! Use the Soul Eater! Reclaim the last of your Aether, and make us whole! Okay, with Dead Space going on recently? A reckoning will not be. Having another side of you that is a mental projection be telling you to make us whole, little worrying. Voltaire, good to see you, I got to have you! I don't know if it's a midlife crisis, it's more just an existential one. It's the same quandary at the heart of Endwalker, really. You know? Forgive me. Forgive me. I ask, I beg, I pray, but it never comes. Again, they go to join the multitude in the black oblivion of the abyss. Our two sides. Such is our lot, and such is the fate of all who are born, to suffer and to die. Do not seek forgiveness, for it will not ease the burden. It weighs as it should. But what of the lost? Do they not deserve to live again? They do, in our hearts and our souls and in our memories. No one likes having to say goodbye, but it's a part of life. That's what makes the time we share together so precious. You can't obsess over the mistakes of the past, or you'll lose sight of the future, of the people still with us, who need us more than ever. The greatest strength is born of the flame in the abyss. Listen to my voice. Listen to our heartbeats. Listen. I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you. Thank you. That is all I ever wanted. So, this is it. One last parting, one final farewell after a fashion. In your darkest hour, in the blackest night, think of me, and I will be with you, always. For where else could I go? Who else could I love but you? Beautiful. Truly. Okay, let me catch up on you guys quick. Rid, good to see you. I leveled Dancer all night so I could main it through Shadowbringers. Nice, Ray. I don't know why, but Dancer seems to fit you. Yeah, Dancer and Warrior, because you got to bonk with the axe. By the way, got another milestone recently finally completed. Feast of Famine. Nice. Now I only need card side quest for the mount. Nice. I keep forgetting we really offed a lot of people. Yeah, we've killed many people. To be fair, I mean, depending on your point of view, it really are very justified in how many that we've fought and how many we've killed. But yeah. Must resist making Days of Our Lives reference, like sand through the hourglass. Well, you see, Sid, my schizophrenia is very special. We'll reap what you sow. Just in case anyone here is confused, does anyone not understand what just happened? Because I can explain it quick. Gotta love this theme. I love how it implied this is our theme. Yeah, what the Torn from the Heavens? Yeah, definitely the Warrior of Lights theme. Boss be like, wait, is that boss music? Why isn't it mine? Call an ambulance, but not for me. Yeah, music. You know, if we gave everyone a Dark Knight Soul Stone, we probably wouldn't need therapists anymore. I don't think that's how it works. I think instead what you see is a lot of violence and a lot of people succumbing to their own self-doubts and insecurities and a wide breadth of chaos ensuing. Also, the boy is behind me and he wants to be seen. So if any of you guys, want to see Deadpool, I can get him. Isaac, make us whole. Dude, the new Dead Space is great. Literally, that entire class deals with midlife crisis. Yeah, not every problem you have can be solved with your sword. Dark Knight, bet. Dragonstar, good to see you, glad to have you. Less midlife crisis, more survivor's guilt and PTSD. Yeah, fair enough. Warrior of Light is really effed in the head from all we've been through. Yeah, which is like, well, and that's what's beautiful about like a lot of the quests that you do go through that I think Ishikawa does. She characterized the Warrior of Light as being more nuanced and complicated. And one of the reasons that the Dark Knight quest line is so lauded is because of the fact that she did that earlier than the MSQ does. And then also it has like a full arc, like the Shadowbringers to Stormblood to or the Heavensward to Stormblood to Shadowbringers arc. It feels like a complete arc for that job. And the thing is that like Deadpool, people want to see you. You know, yeah, I'll pick you up 1 second. My personal lore is that Freya's hanging out in the void sent in my head like a nail and Kami from Team Force. No, come here. Blackest night, something Green Lantern. And brightest day and blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight, or those who worship evils might beware my power, Green Lantern's light. In fearful day and raging night, with our hearts full, our souls ignite. When all looks lost in the war of light, look to the stars where hope burns bright. I think that's the Blue Lantern one. Yeah, it could be purple. I see a Deadpool. Doggo, explain. Yeah, okay, I'll explain in 1 second, Voltaire. I never understood who the annoying kid is. It's us. It's our self. He's just another version of Frey. He's our self-doubts, our insecurities, our fears, our worries, our desire to be forgiven, our feeling that we're doing it wrong, our feeling that we're being incorrect. Like, to a fault, Frey is our sense of justice and frustration and indignation with the world and its cruelties. The Mist is the fear that we are wrong, that we are murderers, that we are killers, that we are unforgiven, that we are, you know, we bear the weight of all those we have lost and all those we sins. That kid is not me. I mean, you're welcome to say that, but that is what the Dark Knight questline is. He is a part of like the Warrior of Light as presented through. I mean, you can headcanon it away, but that like is what it is. But so that's what's up with Mist, and Frey. You know, they're both parts of our souls. JT, good to see you, glad to have you. Please do explain, I came in the middle of it. Yeah, so Frey, throughout the first part of the Heavensward quest line, was all about basically your sense of, like, your sense of injustice at the world made manifest, your frustrations with it, those things that you don't say, those things that you struggle with, those people who continue to ask, who you save, you give everything to, and also, like, he is a burning sense of profound justice. A sense of injustice and righteous indignation and frustration, whereas Mist is the other side of that. And they are both parts of our experience and both parts of our internal dialogue. And our internal dialogue made manifest. When do we not want to see Deadpool? That's fair, Sarah. I thought Mist was Ysael, but I'm probably wrong. No, she's it's not Ysael. And also, Mist is a boy. I know he has long blue hair and is an Elzen, but it's a boy. The boy. Hello, joining in. Death, Barry, good to see you, glad to have you. Coming in from trying to chip ice off cars. Oof. It's cold here too, Death. I know what you mean. He does look like a male version of Ice. Yeah, he does. He definitely does look like a male version of Ysael. I mean, like, his hair's blue instead of white and stuff, but, like, I totally know why people think that. And I think there's supposed to be a little bit of that feeling of loss. He's supposed to be kind of a gestalt representation of our feeling of loss as well, you know? I have a question since I can't recall, but I know that Frey is a Lalafell if you are, but is he also one in that fight? I don't know, because I've never played Lala. I'm gonna finish this up real quick. You'll forgive me for returning to Ishgard ahead of you, I hope. I needed some time to think on everything that happened in Girabanya. I won't pretend to know everything you've been through in your life. A man can never truly understand what's in another's heart, and probably not their own for that matter. I'm pretty much rambling at this point, but I suppose what I'm trying to say is that I'm grateful for everything you've done for me and Ryle. I like you, I respect you, and I'll always be here for you if you need me. We're fellow walkers of the path, after all, and friends, I'd like to think. I've been wondering, Mist appeared at the same time the Soul Crystal cracked, yes? But which happened first, and why then and there? And that's why the Soul Crystal cracked, because of, like, the self-doubt, what he represents, right? Damned if I know. Does anyone truly understand how soul crystals work? No. What matters is that the crystal and Elio have been made whole. I mean, I can give you a general explanation and a detailed one, but like no one fully understands how all of them work, and noticeably each job and the experiences that are stored within the crystal give them special properties, and so like you can't just be like a soul crystal is a soul crystal is a soul crystal, because even the same jobs with different people's experiences etched into them can be different. That said, a heart bleeds, a man weeps, a soul burns. Thence comes the darkness to consume, and few hearts have bled as much as his. Speaking of bleeding, I think your wounds have reopened. If you would sit, it would be much easier for me to tend to them. You should get some rest too, Elio. Not all wounds are so obvious. Out of the mouths of babes and sucklings. Praise Helone, she's right though. No need to overdo it by running off to the next battle just yet. If you must put one foot in front of the other, though, why don't you go back to where the whole damn mess began? Maybe you'll have an epiphany. I'm so excited I'm so excited to finish play Shadowbringers, finish Shadowbringers, and do the Dark Knight quest at the end, because it's such a perfect finale for 5.0. I actually think like the Dark Knight quest in 5.0 is like a phenomenal finale for like capstone on Dark Knight and on Shadowbringers as a whole. Yes, I'm a dark or a white mage for those we can yet save. Yeah. Whether I'm a dark or a white mage for those we can yet save. Yeah, exactly. No, Ray, we have to accept your shadow or else we have to fight a long boss fight. Frey's design makes sense as it is in they are hidden behind armor and genderless, therefore it could be anyone behind the armor, but the design of having a specific male Elven child confuses me. Well, I mean, like, to me, the thing about Mist is it's not about your identity. It's just think about it, Mist, as a manifesting representation of those sorrows, of those regrets, of those you've lost, all of those things, right? It's not, like, if it was just 3 Elios in a row, right? If Frey was just, you know, I don't know that like, your interior landscape can exist without having only things of your own gender, right? Like, you could imagine in your own mind or personify in your own mind your sense of lust or despair or regret or sorrow or whatever as anything, you know? So I don't think choosing to have a representation of a specific kind is particularly off base. I think Frey, if it was supposed to be just a dichotomy, I understand why Frey's more ambiguous, but especially with Mist just being like an outpouring of that sense of despair from, you know, and just made writ into, you know, manifest. It just, I don't know, works for me. So we'll get a little bit of a capstone to what I'm saying here. So the soul crystal's been mended. What troubles you, Master Forgeron? Edmund. Ah, but of course, 'tis a bitterly cold this day. At times like these, one should be warming themselves by the fire. Not a day goes by without your name being spoken, you know. The soldiers and merchants often bring us news of your latest exploits. And that said, to hear it from the heroes themselves would be much preferable. But there would be no exception. Were you to call on us. The pleasure of your company alone would be more than enough. Rather, though, I expect it will be in the days to come. But your destiny was never to remain here, was it? Though a part of me wishes that you would. Forgive me. I find myself growing more and more sentimental in my old age, and in working on my memoirs, I have had time to reflect on the darker chapters of my life. Eorzean lived his to the fullest, and if his story is preserved for generations to come, then I should be glad of it. You will always have a place here, Elio, for you are family. Now, go. Do not let me keep you from your labors. The world waits for none, not even you. I always saw Freya's anger and rage and missed his sadness and empathy. Yeah, I think that's absolutely, I think spot on. I think compassion, like, the thing is that you could also say it, Frey is justice to a fault, and the problem is Mist is compassion to a fault, you know? That their empathy and their compassion breaks their heart so much that they become, that it's a problem. And Frey's sense of injustice and righteous desire for righteous justice goes to a point that he will spurn people, you know? Yep, no, in that fight, he is not a Lala if you are. Okay, yeah, damn. I was just about to mention that. It's so good, yeah. By the way, how much for a Lala on Shadowbringers? See, the problem is that, like, the answer to that, honestly, for me, is probably something crazy like $1,000, because I really would rather play as an Eorzean, but, like, you know. Elio's a soul toll. Yeah, I mean, he's an Eorzean. He's what you get. Elio, we had a visitation yesterday and we buried my sister earlier today, but I just figured I'd give you a small update. Thanks, Gian. I hope it wasn't, well, hope it wasn't too rough. I'm sorry for your loss. I hope you're doing a little bit better. I know it's been a rough couple of days/weeks. Just tuned to Papa 4 times. Damn, good to see, glad to have ya. Hope you're feeling okay, Shion. I can't imagine having to bury one of my siblings. Yeah, hugs to you. Yeah, I'm all the support to you, Shion. Yeah, no worries, Shion. Okay. Okay, guys. Are we ready to start Shadowbringers? I need your hype. I need your energy. I know it's like the most trite and overthink, but I will say genuinely, when we get like fucking hype energy going, it makes it so much more fun to like get into it, because it's like the start, it's the moment, it's the place, it's the from here we leap into the abyss that is the emotional devastation of this expansion and the one that comes after. Because guys, from here on out, Final Fantasy XIV is gonna be bitchin'. Let's fucking do it. Let's fucking do it. Also, there's gonna be a frick-a-frack tons of voiced cutscenes from here on out. Good news, Elio. We had a stroke of luck in our search for the beacon. Apparently, our colleagues have stumbled across a hidden path leading into the hollows around the base of the Crystal Tower. This is gonna be relevant for Eureka Orthos, by the way. A path I doubt we'd ever have found had the Ironworks and the Suns not added their numbers to the party. Also, Ray, I didn't forget your note. Thanks to them, we have eager eyes aplenty down there, checking under rocks and peering into every nook and cranny. Still sounds like there's a lot of ground to cover, though. Then we better give them a hand. My thoughts exactly. The sooner we find this beacon, the sooner you can travel to wherever it is this mysterious voice is coming from. And the sooner we can work out how to help our friends. We'd have to find a way to wake them up, and before the Empire comes calling again, meaning we have no time to lose. This is one of the reasons that a lot of people speculate that Shadowbringers takes place over a pretty short period of time. There's a boat in North Silvertier waiting to ferry people to the site, so let's be on our way. I mean, it could be, because of how things fall apart relatively quickly, it could be any amount of time, but like my impression is Shadowbringers happens over the course of about like 5.0 happens over the course of probably about a month or less. 5.0 to 5.3 is somewhere between like 1 to 3 months. Remember that there's a parity that, like, while time was different between the source and the first, there's now a parity between the two. And so any time that passes in one passes in the other co-equally. Lightheart, good to see, glad to have you. I'm here, I have arrived, welcome. Feel like death, but I can't miss this, I'm just in time. V, you made perfect timing, we just did the Dark Knight. To the Edge, oh, gotta love To the Edge. Speaking of, if you haven't watched our lyrical lore on To the Edge, I highly recommend you do, if Ray or V or Bean want to pass that in. Bring that shadow. Yeah, they say time travel is weird between them. Yeah, but time travel. So it's not that time travel is weird. I'm assuming you mean time travel is weird between them. Yeah. So remember, there's a specification that their time was weird for one point, but they are now in parity with each other. Technically, we haven't reached that line yet, but I'm okay. I don't feel bad saying that. Oh, we have to go to the. We don't actually go to the Crystal Tower. We go to. Okay, Milkshake, let's go. Head into the surveyed site, sir. It's on the eastern shore of the lake, and the swiftest way to get there is by boat. Okay. I have on good authority by Ray that I should talk to all the people here. The archons need our help. Next to that, even matters of the heart don't seem to matter. I've detected no slavering beasts in the vicinity. My sister accepted. Savage Clemens. The ironworks is out in force. Master Garland's orders. The towering edifice in the outer walls of the Crystal Tower's foundation. The Labyrinth of the Ancients, to be precise. So, this thing right here, this is the Labyrinth of the Ancients. So if you ever have looked at the Crystal Tower, there's the Labyrinth of the Ancients and the Crystal Tower itself once you go through it. So when you do the first raid of the Crystal Tower, you have to fight through the Labyrinth of the Ancients, and that's what we're outside right now. So we're in the valleys that are, we're not technically even in the Crystal Tower or even in the Labyrinth of the Ancients. We're in the little, like, lower precipice sections on the outside of it. Hey Leo, the search continues, but I have no doubt we shall find this beacon of yours. Okay. Which song? The one that was playing the one that sounds kind of like Stars Falling, the one that plays for Omega and stuff, Daniel? Is that the one you mean?
Look how many people there are. Should we get to it then? Pick up anything that seems the least bit device-like and we'll make ourselves a pile.
Well, if it isn't the hero of the hour, maybe you'll change our look. We've found bugger all without you.
Biggs! Wedge!
Get together already, damn it!
Aye, aye. Well, we could hardly say no to a call for aid from the Scions. Jesse called it the chief of some other business, so we'll be working twice as hard to make up for his not being here.
Thrice as hard, even.
I'll find it for you later, Daniel.
Thank you, both of you. I'm sure we'll find that beacon in no time.
Oh, perfect, Val. Hey, Val, thank you very much for getting that for them.
I'm not seeing anything out here. Do you reckon you could squeeze in there, Wedge?
And get stuck halfway? No, thank you.
I could try if you like.
Don't make steps.
No, we couldn't ask you to do that.
Oh, I'll be
Kira,
fine.
good to see you, glad to have you.
This receptionist is not afraid to get her hands dirty.
Mongo, good to see you, glad to have you. Oh, here we go.
Sorry, I meant to say, the scholars haven't finished their preliminary assessment of the site yet, so we're not supposed to venture too far in.
Demenz.
What's that you got there? Now that looks promising.
Isn't that the ironworks symbol? Counterfeiters?
Now I have you.
You are right.
That's not ominous.
What's happening?
Stay with me. Focus on my voice. Let expanse contract. Eon become instant.
Wait, this must be it. The device. Well, this is supposed to happen.
Throw wide the gates that we may pass.
Safe journey, warrior of light. Find our friends and bring them home.
Bitchin'. Thanks, Mango. It's not done yet. I'm in the middle of working on it currently. But let's just say I have some fun, we have some fun cosplay streams coming up for later in Shadowbringers. This is the timeless expanse, the interdimensional place between all of things. Every possibility is happening in here all at once, all times, but it's also the point at which time and space can connect intimately. All our memories, all our moments.
The dawn's light will shine again.
Oh, do not look at me so.
You're slaves to a tyrant. There's no freedom in that.
This is one battle you cannot fight. Away with you.
Spirited accounts always comes in.
We did everything right. Everything that was asked of us, and still it came to this.
Our bird. God damn it, Demenz. We have a horny hammer emote getting made, by the way, for you guys, because I know you wanted one.
Your time has not yet come.
What could that be about? We'll have to explain it later. Oh, I forgot I have a huge announcement for you guys. I'll have to wait till after the cutscene. You're not wrong, Ray Ray. I'm with you there. I'm gonna be real. Honestly, the only one I find sexier would shock you, I bet. And now we are a stranger in a strange land. What was green is now purple. And that's the only difference. God, what a cinematic intro. Like, like, don't get me wrong, I love the intros for the other ones, like Walking the Bridge and Heavensward and all that, and into Garabania. But there's something about it that just, they really upped their game from Stormblood Shadowbringers. And just this scene alone does so much to convey that, in my opinion.
Dreams I awake.
Terrible and beautiful.
Vague, yet urgent, calls me to action once more.
Decoy. Just like the first person we met on our
Rare
journey
to meet
into...
someone out here is not a peddler themselves. What brings you into the wilds this time of night?
Remember, we met that same sort of guy on the source. But it's bright as day.
Well, if it ain't the oldest joke in the book. Me granddad, God's rest his soul, used to tell that one to the barman at kicking out time. And when, pray tell, did we last have a dark night? You rotten
Sounds good,
old
Mango.
drunk yet, he'd reply.
Have a good one, man. Over 100 bleeding years ago, that's when. 100 years without night.
You got that look down to a T. I'd almost think you meant it. Ah, got to you, did they? Poor beggar. That explains it then. Well, I've roads to travel and wares to sell, but you best hurry along to the town nearby.
No.
Just head east through the trees and aim for the Shining Tower. You'll find the place soon enough. 'Tis the biggest settlement for malms around. Go on now, friend. They'll take good care of you in the Crystarium.
Fucking music! Oh, it's so good!
To dizzying heights it rises, the gleaming spire. Its tip threatening to pierce the blinding canopy. There, it will all begin anew, between dark and light. The pure and the corrupt. The one true struggle.
And welcome to Shadowbringers. Okay, admittedly, maybe it was appropriate also that the, near raid was in this because Amanda Aiken. No fight left to fight, no life left to live. Wait, that doesn't get to live, but yeah. Arbor. Elio serving as Warrior of Light and Summoning X are both for convenience sake. Wibbly wobbly timey wimey. It also features breathable air. You made it? Yeah, Mango, I don't know if you're still here, but I do make cosplay stuff. Also, I can't see that chat, so hopefully I won't be sending... Oh, is chat not working? Here, I can up YouTube element. Bonk. We did everything right. Harper. Bonk, bonk, bonk. I remember my first steps in Shadowbringers. Yeah, John? We were asking earlier how people felt about their time in Shadowbringers and when they first arrived there. Is it what I think it is? Yeah. Almost time for the 60s. I love the colors of Lakeland, me too. Welcome to my world. This scene is gorgeous, truly. Me playing too much with G-Shaded Truth felt like another world to get from the get-go. Yeah, definitely. Apparently that's how trees would end up without proper light. Light, but no. Squeenix, I would like a pipe emo, please, and thank you. Yeah, gonna be lurking for now, because I would have asked you, didn't happen to have two more identical brothers with you. I was gonna say something like that, or cigar emo. Also, they'd actually have like some legal issues in certain countries with the tobacco stuff. That's a long time not to have night. Yeah, 100 years. I never get tired of this expansion opening. No, it's so good. I just want to embrace my inner hobbit and sit back with a book and pipe, okay? Chocobo is really big, don't you think? The narrator emerges. Yeah. So, surely it's coincidence that building looks like that. Yeah. Yeah. The fact that that looks like the Crystal Tower is just a coincidence. There's no way. You know, literally the symbol of Alag forged specifically by people that of our world. Yeah. Chat is fine. Cool. Pray tell, when did we last have a dark night? I'm standing right in front of you, man. That's good. Oh, I love this too. Just the world version. Oop.
Halt.
Oh, it's one of the best characters. I'm gonna be saying that a lot. Nightwing, good to see, glad to have you.
Face in this city, I know. Yours, I do not.
God,
This is the threshold of the Crystarium, stranger, and I am its gatekeeper. If you would enter, you will answer my questions.
Look how pretty that shot is.
From where do you hail?
None of these are good options, but let's just go with Limsa. Yep,
Do you
we
take me for
just
a
started.
fool? No such place exists. Had you given me an honest answer, I would not have barred your way. We care little here for a person's place of origin, but instead, you chose concealment. And I will not suffer you to pass. That one had eaten. It must have gulped down the whole hand, ring and all.
Oh, it's one of the best characters.
Everything all right, Captain?
Like I said, they'll be saying that a lot. Yeah, first gut punch of the
Quite
expansion.
all right, my lord. Just a stray sin eater, and a weak one at that.
God, I love this version.
Weak or not, we should be on the lookout for more. But I see you've met my guest. I will escort him to the Crystarium myself, if you've no objections.
Another of your mysterious fronts, is it? I should have known. Very well. I'll inform the others your guest is to be given the run of the city. Pray forgive my less than cordial welcome. May the rest of your stay with us be a pleasant one.
Quick question, who here likes the song Answers?
Come with me. I will answer whatever questions you have when we are somewhere more private.
And Nightwings, no, this is not my first time. This is my first time replaying it since I first played it. So this is my second time ever.
Right then, before we plunge into the wheres and wherefores, let me first thank you for answering my summons. I had intended to bring you directly to my personal quarters, but I fear my aim was slightly off. That you are still able to make the crossing unharmed is a great relief. And so, we come to the question of where. The realm in which you now find yourself belongs to one of the 13 reflections, or shards. The first, to be precise, even if its inhabitants are largely oblivious to the fact. As to wherefore, having been awarded the rather grandiose title of Crystal Exarch, I, in my capacity as caretaker of the Crystarium, thought to seek the aid of you and your companions.
Rachel, good to see you. Glad to have you. I'm going somewhere with that question about answers in a second, and I think you guys are going to get excited. Ooh. Are there any scions here, or do you have any idea how much trouble you cause? I'll let you guys pick real quick while I catch up. You can escort me anywhere you like, my lord. What a strange new person we've never met before. I just love them all. It's on a landline. I don't think my phone company has that feature. Oof. Good that CT rate is in voice. Yeah. Gonna just get rid of that. Person running a lore channel to chat full of subscribers who likes answers. Trouble, scions, trouble. Do you have any idea how much trouble you've caused?
An inkling, yes. I can only beg your forgiveness. Matters here forced my hand. But all shall be explained in due course, I promise you. Let us begin with the glaring skies up above. Here in the First, the world has been all but consumed by primordial light. It began a century ago, by this realm's reckoning. A luminous flood swallowing everything in its path. More than 9/10 of this star was lost. And the fortunate few who survived are hounded by abominations born of that catastrophe even now. Sin Eaters, we call them. The creature you saw earlier was one such monstrosity. It was to save the First from this menace that I learned to bridge the rift between worlds. That I might call upon the aid of the greatest of heroes. Though it meant depriving a world of its champion, I had to try, for in saving the First, you would bring salvation to the source as well.
Never trust the XR to
What manner of host harangues his guests in the middle of the road? Let us continue our talk within the Crystarium.
I mean, John, I would say, like, you know, versions of, like, ours. Geographically would be the same. Well, I mean, like, in terms of, like, the land masses. But, for the most part, they should be, based off the First. But, you know, their dispositions, personalities, and stuff could have differed in so many ways. You know, like, the cultures and everything that came about. Ugh. Crystarium's great starting city. Who's has Crystarium as their favorite starting city? I know quite a few of you.
Such a proud and vibrant city.
Look at that
sanctuary for the living in a world all but resigned to oblivion.
The Rogan with the orange is going to be relevant later.
Each stone was laid with hope. The town itself a symbol, a monument to defiance in the face of death. No would-be hero could fail to answer its call. For who among us does not yearn for salvation?
Norvland, the Crystarium. Crystarium is wonderful. Yeah, it really is. Shantari, it's good to see you. Glad to have you. When do we get housing for the city? Would be, in theory, at the earliest 7.0. Basically, I wouldn't expect it until they do some sort of plot point around it or connecting the source to the reflections. Okay, real quick. So you all know what the Crystarium looks like with this design and stuff, right? So what the Crystarium is actually inspired by a tech demo for Final Fantasy XIV. Its design is based on the Rapture tech demo from Final Fantasy XIV. Because I remember getting the Crystarium thinking, oh wait, this is so familiar. Why does this look like, why have I seen this before? Even like the Eorzean blimps and stuff? So, just thought that was a little cool thing. Worth pointing out. There's also characters throughout the Crystarium that are references to the 1.0 trailer as well. Just look up Rapture Final Fantasy XIV on YouTube and it'll pop up. Pretty sure there's enough craftable items for the Crystarium that you can make apartment for House Crystarium interior. Yeah. I got some snacks. Did I miss the announcement? No, Light, we're about to do the announcement. So let me do that now, actually. Which city do you think is the next most likely city for housing? Crystarium would make sense. Razat Han would make sense, but I think unlikely. Sharlayan would make sense, but I don't know if that'll happen right away. I think Crystarium's a reasonable assumption. I also could be what a place in Mericidia instead. But I would say Sharlayan, Crystarium, or Mericidian City is probably number one. We have a precedent for moon housing. Yes, and yes, that is the other thing, is that there's not only precedent, but multiple references to moon housing potentially be a thing. I just don't think that that's going to happen anytime soon. But I could be wrong. I want Raz housing so bad, yeah. Okay, so, the announcement. So, I may or may not have the chance to interview Susan Calloway, who is the singer for Answers, coming up here in the next few weeks. So if any of you guys, it'll be live, so you'll be able to attend it. But also, if you have questions you want to ask her, feel free to send them my way, and I will try to work them into asking her if I can, if it's what it works for me. So that, I mean, I guess it's not a huge announcement, but for me, that's very exciting and very validating. Getting to interview, a person who's helped create the song that so many of us love. Yeah, I was approached for the opportunity, and I'm very excited, very lucky, and very happy. Nightwing, I read your thing as, dude, that's odd. And I was like, okay, thanks, I guess. No, but good. Yeah. So again, if you have like any questions, you can always ask over on our Discord. That's probably the easiest way, is you can just go into like general or whatever, and you can just at me and be like, hey, or like the lore discussion, and just be like, hey, what about like this sort of thing? And make no promises about everyone's question getting in, partly because I'm only going to probably have about an hour at most. But I will definitely try to work them in some way, or at least be mindful of them. No, you don't have to worry about it, Nightwings. It's all good. But that stuff's all getting worked out and finalized right now, so like it may be a couple weeks. We'll see what. And here we are. Oh, I have to figure out my Alexar voice. And here we are. And here we are. I'm just gonna go with something simple. And here we are. Welcome, my friends, to the Crystarium. Here to see us there. Now, a full and frank discussion in the privacy of my study would seem to be in order. But I think our conversation would be more meaningful were you to first to gain a firmer grasp of the situation here. To that end, I would like you to visit a few of Crystarium's civic leaders and glean something of this world and its predicament. As you can see, this path will take you directly to the Aetheryte, a convenience with which I am sure you are only too familiar. Being the rightful object of my summoning spell, you should in theory be able to reach all the way back along your etheric trail and find a connection in the source, believe it or not. I strongly suggest you complete this attunement before venturing any further. After you have done so, walk up the steps next to the Aetheryte and head out to the left to arrive in the Crystalline Mean. This is where you'll find our collective of crafters and gatherers, as well as their spokeswoman, Catelys, one of the people I should like you to meet. Another is Moonran. To reach him and his Cabinet of Curiosity, you'll want to avoid the aforementioned steps. Take the exit on the left and simply continue straight along and down until you come to a large door at the end of the path. The third and final person I should like you to meet is Braggy, our man in charge of trade and distribution. He's to be found in the Marcus, which you can access from the opposite side of the Aetheryte Plaza. In seeking out each of my colleagues, you will visit the major districts of the city and hopefully gain a feel for the place. I trust my directions were simple enough. Crystal clear! Haha, very good. I concede the layout of the Crystarium owes more to historic necessity than planning, but I'm sure you'll learn its twists and turns before long. In all honesty, the true challenge may be finding the right way to approach its citizens. As you've discovered during your encounter with the Captain, the people of this world are unaware of the existence of other stars, and will struggle to accept the truth of your origin. That being the case, when they ask you whence you hail, as they inevitably will, I suggest you claim to share a homeland with the Crystal Exarch. There's an unspoken rule here about peering too deeply into that particular mystery. When you've finished making the rounds, pray, meet me at the in the large courtyard at the center of town. Until then. Take 52, Elio, action. Oh, is it related to the anniversary? Strangely enough, no. Hopefully, though, I might be able to get something going for some of the 10th anniversary stuff. But, no, her, social media manager and like community manager saw my answers video and reached out to me. Also, the mean is related to the Crafter Relics this expansion. It would be coincide, I suspect. I shall endeavor to see what sway I can pull for Elio. Yeah, Lightheart. Oh, you're here. Good, good, good. Obviously, Lightheart. I don't know why my brain just didn't focus for a second on you being you, but obviously you already knew that. Lightheart is the aforementioned community manager. By focusing your senses, you take the flow of a vastly distant currents of aether. Your connection to these energies is faint but stable, and should allow teleportation to Aetheryte in the source. But also, if you have specific questions you'd like to ask her, you can just share them here as well, and I'll try to either make a note or have one of the mods help me out. Well, I appreciate why they make you, check out all these places ahead of time. And I think it's probably the right move, especially so you can, pick up the Aether nets and the Aetherite, the shards and stuff. I also just, let me into the next part of the story! Oh! You know? Of course, I brought up the mean because you mentioned something about the housing stuff. Right, I'm not sure I follow how those two connect. Excuse me, sir. Are you recently come to the city, perchance? I'm quite familiar with our civic roles, you see, and, well... What I mean to ask is, have you brought any books with you? A rumpled scroll, even a scrap of scribbled on parchment? My apologies. Literature is something of an obsession of mine as well as a profession. A librarian Moran at your service, and this humble collection is known as the Cabinet of Curiosity. As your powers of perception have likely informed you, my colleagues and I are responsible for curating all manner of tomes, documents, and other vehicles for the written word. As horrific as the loss of life and land wrought by the flood unquestionably was, the damage to the recorded knowledge was no less catastrophic. We few do all we can to preserve what wisdom survived. But tell me, what brings you to the cabinet today? Looking for any titles in particular? Mayhap a spot of academic research? Oh ho ho! So you're of an interest in modern history. Splendid. A thorough review of recent events can often yield novel perspectives. I quite agree. If you would prefer something visual to accompany the account, then I think I've illustrated a history book for children somewhere. Just a moment, I'll fetch it for you. Ooh, that's a good question, Summit. I'll get to you in just 1 second. And here we are. Would you like to pull up a chair, make yourself more comfortable? On with the lesson, then. I love this little part. A 100 years ago, or near enough not to matter, villains known as the Warriors of Light slew the Shadowkeeper, the Steward of Darkness. In the wake of this tainted deed, a light began to pour into the world as if from unseen cracks. It pooled and swelled without cease, until the day an enormous blinding wave rose up and swept across our star. We called this calamity the Flood of Light. Everything it touched was leached of life and vigor, leaving naught behind but a luminous wasteland. There's also going to be a lot of like lore important stuff in Shadowbringers, so please ask questions if you have them. Or for clarifications. Yet, just when it seemed that all would be lost, a savior appeared before us. The Oracle of Light. She stood twixt us and approaching doom, and by her power did she stay the flood of... Thus was Norvrant, and Norvrant alone spared the fate of erasure. Tragedy would, however, arrive in another form. From the blasted emptiness descended horrors of strange and terrible aspect to bedevil the few folk who survived. These Sin-Eaters were light incarnate, and their fulgent presence stole the night from Norvrant's sky. Oh, that's interesting. You can see. Even now, they circle the remaining bastions of civilization, ever on the hunt for us, ever hungering for our flesh. And thus did the world become what it is. Should you ever wish to hear the tale again, I would be glad to retell it for you. Or if you would rather I speak of other matters, that too would be my pleasure. I should be glad of the company. It's quite lovely here. Your exchange with Morin has taught you about the Flood of Light. Okay. Oh, cool. Also, I brought up the meme because you mentioned something about the housing stuff. Blah, blah, blah. I love how the Aethernet shards are just a bit of the bits of the Crystal Tower. Are they, or are they just crystal? Do they state that? Is there someone that says that? Because if so, that's really cool. I mean, I guess that would make sense for how they acquired it from repurposed use. At least you don't have to escort quests in the city with the slowest heck arcane minion. It's true. At least it's not. That's Burning Crusade, right? I'm the social media community manager for Susan Calloway. I've been here watching how much Elio works, and I did send a word on Susan about this amazing friendly community. Thanks, Flight. Appreciate it. So, guys, remember, it's not just that I got this interview because of me. I also got it because of you guys. And I know that sounds... God, that sounds like the most hacky thing to say. But I mean it. And also, like, sincerely. It is true. You guys being kind and good and not being a bunch of shitheads in the chat actually, you know, gets us opportunities like that. Wait, so what is the relationship between the stars and the source? I always imagine it was a parallel words, but the text implies they are traversable physically just very far away. Yeah, so it's never been made hyper explicit exactly whether they exist in physical space differently or dimensionally differently. However, the text there is talking about ethereal trails. So my personal impression is that they are all exist in the same physical space, but layered on top of each other dimensionally, shifted from each other. We don't know for sure that's the absolute truth, but that is the thing that makes the most sense based on a lot of the other text that we get. What happens is that your ethereal trail can still cross between the dimensions, and so even though it's weak, effectively your ethereal trail is acting as a phone line for you to be able to send your aether to travel through the Aethernet back through in order to get to the source. Because, for instance, also if it was... So basically, your aether tether from that led you to where you are now is currently leading from where it is here in the source through the infinite void back into the source. And it still lingers a little bit there while because of you passing through. Where Light is being taught like a child. I mean, he doesn't know anything about this world, so it's apt for them to do that, you know? If you recall, you said something about crafting in relation to the source, and I did the thing where I have explained a thought that might make something with Relic Quest about traversal. Okay, no, well, no, because the thing is that I'm talking about traversal from the source and first for everyone. So, for instance, you have to create a reason that they're gonna do housing. So maybe they're just doing housing for reconstruction for everybody that's already here on the first, and they're thinking about how there might be a population boom, right? That might be an answer. But also another reason that there might be housing is imagine if they created housing because now the reflections in source, or the first in source, were traversable, you know, for everyone, not just the Warrior of Light. Is the script used in the first different than that of the source? Yes. Is that why Moon reads to us instead of the Warrior of Light reading the book? That's quite possible, because if you actually look at the maps, you can see that the script for Norvrand is different than the script for Eorzea. It is a completely different script. But you'll notice the geographic, so like while the topography can be different, the actual geology of it all, like the continent itself, this is Eorzea, right? You can see this is where Kurthus would be, this is where Dravania would be, this is Vilbrind, this is where Uldath Anilin would be, this is where Girabania would be, or not Girabania, Black Shroud, and then Girabania would be over here. So like, it's exactly the same, one for one. You can even like literally take the map from Eorzea and the map from the first, and if you I think because of perspective, you have to stretch it just a little bit, but like it like maps over each other perfectly. Yes, I suspect there are parallels and subtly different in each way of said reflection. I believe that certain worlds' reflections have words protecting them or entry to them at least. So I don't think there are words protecting them. I think that literally just the fundamental requirements to get between each one and the barrier that exists as a byproduct of that, like just the natural barrier there is what prevents it more than any like intentional ward on Hydaelyn or Vanna's part. At least that's what is stated to us by certain characters at certain points. It's just basically hard to traverse between them at all. Such an earnest and giant nerd. The nerdiest earnest nerd. Take full credit, Elliot. Yep, it's all you, Demens. You did it. Okay, that makes sense. I think I have some follow-up questions about insert Endwalker spoilers. We'll save this for a certain Discord channel. Sounds good, Summit. Lar, if you want to just at me in the Discord. And again, I was talking to Yuki about this. Remember, it is a lot easier on me if you at me in the Endwalker spoilers Discord if you have a specific question or topic you need to talk to me about. Because otherwise, I try not to overly check in, mostly because I'm busy, but also because I want other people to be allowed to talk without like the lore guy coming in and taking over the conversation. You know. Yuki, good to see, glad to have you. Elio, is not the multiverse theory painting the source and shards. It depends on how you want to define multiverse theory about probability. So the difference being, the thing is that it's not a multiverse in that it's not probability branching off into different possibilities, because while that's a whole other thing that we can talk about that probably does exist, that's separate from the broad dimensional shifts. So, we don't know for a fact that if you look up into the night sky of Norvrand, whether you can or can't see the Dragon Star. Presumably you can. But what that means in its totality has never been made fully clear. We also may get clarification on this in EE3. But while multiverse actually is relevant for a different subject later on we'll talk about, I don't think it's actually the case here, because it's not infinite branches of possibility. It's just a phasial shift, more so. That's less multiverse and more parallel dimensions, correct, yeah. What did I miss? Where's Ellie in the story? I'm in Shadowbringers. Rare to see a place so well stocked with goods, isn't it? But not here. I'm going to guess you're new to our fair city. Well, for what it's worth, you've chosen a fine sanctuary. The Exarch can throw up a barrier if the Sin Eaters come knocking, so it's a damn sight safer in here than out there. Safer and more civilized, too. Thanks to us in the mean, we work together to procure materials and resources and craft the goods which make city life possible. This is the place to visit if you need a coat mended or a kettle reforged. Just don't go thinking it all be handed to you on a plate like those Umorian layabouts. Here in the Crystarium, we work for a living. Though I see you're no stranger to honest labor, you don't have that whiff of indolence about you like some folk I've met. Still, I can't quite pin down your profession. Where is it you're from? The Crystal Exarch's homeland. One of the Exarch's countrymen, you say? I see. Well then, I'll work twice as hard to make you feel welcome. Our city wouldn't even exist if it weren't for him, and any friend of his is a friend of ours. Oh, that's a good shot. It's really quite incredible when you think about it. They say his grand magic summoned the Crystal Tower into existence, pulled the entire thing out of thin air. It wasn't long before droves of refugees began congregating around its base, desperate for shelter after losing their homes to the flood. And that's how the Crystarium began. At the X-Guard's invitation, buildings started going up, and with the help of some curious relics brought forth from the tower, the place gradually expanded into a thriving metropolis you see today. The city stood here for decades now, yet the eldest among us swear the X-Guard looks exactly the same as he did back then. He is indeed a man of many mysteries, but for all his secrecy, he's never yet let us down. So if he, and you, wish to remain silent about your shared homeland, then the folk here will respect your wishes for privacy. I am, however, more than a little curious to see any crafting talent you might be hiding. If you've ought to contribute to that front, be sure to come back and visit once you've had a chance to settle in. Just ask for Catalyst, and I'll find you a niche here in the crystalline mean. You can help us keep the cogs of the city greased and turning. Okay, so, you know what? So none of the, so it's very fast, right? You get through the storybook, you get through that, and the thing is, think about it. We've been introduced to the Flood of Light, the idea of the Oracle of Light. We've been introduced to the idea of Yulmor. We've been introduced to the idea of Exarch and people's relationship to it. Like, they're being incredibly economic with their storytelling. So honestly, to have this here is smart, because they're not, it means less to explain later, and honestly, they're explaining it fast and getting you in quick. And you're also more interested because it's a world you're completely blind to, like, what is going on? So there's a lot of intrigue, you know? Catching up, so Lakeland is more donuts. Mordona! Okay, I'm following. Yep, okay. Yeah, Lakeland is Mordona, yes. I was like, more donuts? What? And Hrothgar. New to the city, friend. The spinning head and wide eyes give you away. Welcome, my name is Ragi, and I am the master of these markets. They gave the district another official title, but I'm not in the habit of using it. Too florid by half. In any case, our merchants stock a range of equipment for elves, such as yourself, so finding something in your size shouldn't be a problem. Elizin are called elves, Aura are called Dron, Viera are called V, Hrothgar are called Ronso, Lalafels are called... Well, I won't tell you what Lalafels are called for now because it's going to be funny when you find out. Ronso, or, Roganin are called the Rhine? I always forget Roganin. Mikote are called the Mistel. Here are Humes. Did I miss any? I think that's it. Yeah. Holy shit, a talking cat. If anyone remembers the Rogan, I always forget it off the top. Galjet, that's what it is. Thank you, Adia. Good to see you, glad to have you, by the way. No, you're right. It's Galjet, yep. I always forget that one for some reason. I haven't studied the Shadowbringers lore as hard as I have every other lore, partly because I wanted to wait till I got to this point and until EE3 came out, so this is going to be very exciting for me to, like, dive a lot deeper into it. I mean, I have dived deep, just not as deep as I have in some other subjects. I'm sorry, did you say elves? Aye, something wrong? Let's see if we can straighten this out. See those two in front of us. The shorter one is a hume. The taller one is an elf, like you. The sturdy individual over there is a Galgen, whilst the one with the horns is a Dron. Why don't I always just wait? Because they're going to explain the things I end up explaining. And then you have the large scaly chaps with long tails and knack for raising livestock. These would be the Zun. So the Amaljar are Zun. Which is apparently not the name you know them by. Now I'm curious to know which far-flung region you hail from. I'm from where the Exarch's from. Ah, the same as the Exarch, eh? Well, that explains it. You don't get much further flung than that. We've had a few of your lot pass through in recent years, and despite their obvious leanings, they floundered over the simplest things. But not to worry. Should you find yourself confused by the local language or customs, I'll be here to answer your questions. Viera RVs. Yeah, did I say Viera's RVs, right? I caught that. Did Mordona look a bit like Lakeland before the Battle of Silver Tier Skies? More like it, yeah. I mean, it wasn't still the same topography, and like the same like purples and stuff, but it was much closer, yeah. Out of curiosity, is there any special dialogue for Lalas in the scene based on culture? Great question, Dest. I don't know. Now I'm starting to wonder, like, now I'm thinking Shadowbringers actually as a Lala would be fascinating. Can't wait for the next lore book for Shadowbringers lore. I know, I'm so... Thanks, guys. Like, not to be vain for a second, but like when you start streaming, you know, like you see like other people you look up to, like other streamers or content creators, and you're like, you see like someone get a welcome to an expansion or something, and you're like, that's so cool, and you're so happy for them. But you also think, oh, if I'm gonna start doing this, I would love if I got to the place in life where something like that happened, right? Not just because it's all about you, but just like, I don't know, there's just something that feels special. I don't know. So thank you for being here and doing a welcome. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. First kobolds are... Yeah, the Mord are great, yeah. The only line you Warrior of Light ever gets to speak. You guys are too sweet. Yeah, you guys are too sweet. And get home in time to log in and be part of the welcome one. Guys, if you even were thinking about it, even if no one was here and you had thought of it, I appreciate that. I really do. Seriously. Thank you. To all of you. To those who are here, and to those who are here in chat, and to all of you. And to any of you who are watching after, thank you. Do not take this for granted. Thank you. This picture will do, Rowan. Welcome to Shadowbringers again. Thanks, Dragonstar. I wasn't sure if it was okay to show up, to be honest. No, yeah, I understand the worry. Yeah, no worries, Val. Why does the Warrior of Light look upset when they saw tombstones? I think surprise more, but we'll get to that. I'm on my way. Lights on their way. Okay. Yukio, years of endless grinding for tombstone gear. Yeah. Well, how did you fare? Did my colleagues help you form a clearer picture of the world and its people? Ah, tears. Yes, it seems you were treated to most thorough introduction. I understand it was something of a chore, but 'twas necessary that you grasp these things before we proceed. As for the Crystal Tower's origin, you may have noted the details were sparse. The structure is, in fact, the selfsame one you know from the source, transported to the first in its entirety. Though you have to wonder, well, ours is still in the source, so what's going on there? It was my first attempt at breaching the boundaries between worlds, something of a trialed one for your eventual crossing. And although I do not know which era I tore it from, I do know that its arrival served to set the wheels of fate in motion. Ah, okay. So you're claiming that you tore it from some point in time. Must have been he tore it from our future, right? Because as long as he takes it from our future, it still makes sense that it's here in our present. For those who know, you know. Laughs, cries, and I have all the Animal Lux weapons. Good job, Tab. Super last minute idea, but I'm glad it could bring a smile. It means the world. Thank you. Thank you very, very, very much. You've done as I requested and learned something of the world in which you find yourself. Now it's time I fulfilled my half of the bargain and explained what has befallen your comrades. That is a conversation I would rather have in the privacy of my quarters. However, I must go on ahead to the tower and organize a few things. But I shall see the guards know to admit you. Just like that? Then Grahatia is... I'm not familiar with that name. Is there something I should know? There was a man I knew once, and he lay slumbering in the tower. An extraordinary tale, but I'm afraid I found no such individual residing in the tower when it passed into my care. Mayhap we can revisit that mystery another time. For now, I think it best that we focus on the present. I did the near raids only got a pair of pants, but that's whatever. Yeah. I don't want to black out beam. If you've got Dark Knight, try switching to it and doing the, what is it? Is it V pose? Yeah, that's what it is. If you could all line up real quick so we could try to get people in a row. I'd love to get a picture. Just C pose. Yeah. I'm sure you did an excerpt. Yeah. I'm in mug with green hair. Cool. You mind lining up in a row with us, Light? And 3, 2, 1. Here, we'll just go with that. That's fine. Yeah, that'll do just fine. If you could switch to Dark Knight if you have it, Light, please. Okay. And then slash sit. Can everyone do a slash sit real quick? Just to reset. Okay. It's still doing the thing. You know what? We got the photo. We're good. I'm gonna go toss that into screenshots. Thanks, guys. I really, really appreciate it. And so our journey begins. And our journey will never end. Greetings, sir. The exile awaits you within. A lot of pretty swords, yeah. And now, exposition. The kind that you want. If you haven't noticed before, that circle on the floor has one that's the source and the rest of them are the reflections around it.
Welcome to the Ocular, my private study. We can speak here without fear of being overheard. I have much to explain, but the truths which I must touch upon in doing so would cause only distress and confusion to the people of this world. Pray keep that in mind. Now, I am sure you are desperate to know the fate of your fellow scions. To put it simply, they are here in the first. Their arrival, however, was not as recent as you may imagine. Here, time flows at a different pace from that of the source. In the space of a single hour in your home world, an entire year might pass in the first, and the reverse could also be true. The pace fluctuates without rhyme or reason, and it cannot be predicted. That said, we seem to be entering a period of near equivalence. And
that's the important thing.
Moment, you need not overly concern yourself with the passage of time.
Real quick, two things that are important there. Right now, during Shadowbringers and so far in all the events, there's parity. The other thing that's important to remember is it's not time goes faster on the first than the source. It can flip-flop. So it could be 100 years in the source and 1 year on the first. Like, it's worth remembering that the time between all the shards and reflections can be, it just is chaotic. It also is interesting to know that it seems on a long enough time scale is relatively co-synchronous, based on what we know about the 13th.
As for your companions, however, Yustola and Eorzean have dwelled here for 3 winters, all told, while Thancred's count stands at 5. Even our more recent arrivals, Alphino and Alize, have lived in the First for almost a year.
So 5, 3, 3, 1, 1. 5 for Thancred, 3 for Eorzean
My intention had been
Y'shtola.
to summon only you, but the art of reaching across worlds has proven exceedingly difficult to master. Thus it was that my fumbling hand closed upon those to whom your fate is most closely bound as well. As they were not the object of my summons, their transference was incomplete. Though they may appear to possess corporeal bodies, they are, in truth, merely spirits that one can see and touch.
Why is Thancred always naked?
Consequently, while you yourself will be able to pass between worlds with relative freedom, they will not. Much as it grieves me, they are stranded here, unable to return.
What have they been doing all this time?
We spent every waking hour searching for a way to reverse the summoning. In the beginning, at least. As you may have surmised, however, our efforts met with little success. And then we all but abandoned the endeavor once Eorzean shared with us the vision he had witnessed during his journey through the rift. In that chaotic no-man's land between realms, time and space warp and blend in unexpected ways. What Eorzean saw was the future, that which would one day come to pass. In his vision of tomorrow, the first was rejoined with the source. This collision of worlds brought about the 8th umbral calamity and the deaths of countless multitudes. Amongst those who perished, Eorzean clearly saw the fall of the Scion's mightiest champion. He watched you die. And thus did the Scions embrace their exile, and began searching this world for a means to forestall the coming catastrophe in yours.
The himbo's coming,
Their souls are
boys.
stranded in
Ladies.
the first, yes.
Everyone's.
But they have fought on, desperate to save their home and you from destruction. Nor have their efforts been in vain, for it was they who finally established that the elimination of the Sin Eaters will indeed serve to prevent the calamity. Considering these circumstances of our meeting, you would be forgiven for doubting my version of events. And so, before all else, I would suggest you track down your comrades and hear the tale from their lips. I shall of course be happy to assist in these reunions, and you need not make any decisions regarding your involvement until you are certain of where you stand.
I want you guys to...
I
Here,
promise I will not rest until I have found a way to help your friends return home. What say you? Have I earned your trust for the moment, at least?
Oh, I'm gonna put a poll up. I want you guys to pick which twin we're gonna start with. I may not actually. I may still go with the twin that I want, but I'm just curious what you guys think. I'll trust you for the moment.
Excellent. You will not regret this. With that settled, we shall have to see about getting you ready for the road. Traveling across the rift has no doubt left you weary. I will arrange for a room where you might rest in comfort. While it's being prepared, perhaps I can show you around.
You feel like you're picking a Pokemon game? What I would like, what I'd also like to hear, I'd care to hear. Oh, guys, just still. Not gonna cry again. Okay, gotta play. Okay, But what I'd love to hear is for those of you who have a strong opinion one way or another, what your opinion is. If you can talk about it, I guess, without spoiling it specifically. I strongly think Alisaie is the better starter. I think the game, if you look at the Unending Journey, states it as Alphino first, then Alisaie. I think Alisaie is a much stronger one to start with. And when you start from there, it then allows Alphinos to be the cooldown. And I think that Alisaie's conveys the world state very powerfully. Red hits harder, yeah. I think the better order is red than blue. The Crystarium boasts a number of residential districts, but I have been informed that the room has just become available at the Pendant, which, as it turns out, is perfect. Our path there will take us past the markets, and I was hoping to give you my own introduction to the wares. Come along. Oh, because you want to see the other way around. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that makes sense, V. The other thing is, so what I would point out is, I won't go specifics, but like, think about the order of what happens after you complete the twins, right? And what you go into. Having it be red-blue dungeon means that there's like a little bit of a moment to like cool off after the intensity of red, whereas otherwise it's kind of like cool off into intense, you know? So like having a little bit of like a undulation, I think makes red stronger. I agree with your reasoning, yeah. Hits me like a ton of bricks. As if the game is going to stop me from going to one of my wives. Totally agree. Yeah, it's a good intro, I feel like. Yeah. I think it just very strongly conveys world state. And not that obviously Alphys doesn't. It's just a different part of the world state. But like, the desperation, right? I feel like Alisaie really clearly communicates the desperation of it all. Yeah, okay. If anyone strongly feels Alphino first, I'd love to hear your reasoning.
This is the Musica Universalis, the commercial heart of the Crystarium. What you might need to prepare for your journeys can be purchased here.
So this is another thing that I just want to keep pointing things out, I think that make why people like Shadowbringers, why I don't know what quotation marks, why I think that part of why people like Shadowbringers better. Moments like this in Heavensward and Stormblood, right, would have not been voiced. Like small moments like this that are not major cutscenes. It's also stuff like this, I think, does a lot to make it more enjoyable. Oh, see, Sarah, that's why it hits less hard for me, but I see your point.
You must be curious about the currency. Fear not. The gil you carry will serve you well enough.
I love that they explain this so much. It's unnecessary, and I love it.
Once minted its own coins, but was all a jumbled mess following the flood. After much debate, the local merchants eventually elected to revert to the old ways, wherein a coin's value was decided by the worth of its metal. As for a unit of measurement, we agreed upon the term gil, a word borrowed from coins uncovered within the Crystal Tower here. And as our traders peddled their wares across the land, so too did our usage of gil become common practice. From what your stola tells me, a standard coin from the source equates to exactly 1 gil here, or near enough not to matter. Our way of life has benefited greatly from the artifacts we recovered from the tower, some of which may be familiar to you.
Tomestones! Remember, tomestones have information in them. They're not phones. They are like USB data sticks. So yeah, you're surprised to see them, right? Because like, you're like, wait, there's tomestones here? It's like, oh god, even here. Not here too.
But I fear it would not be practical for us to provide everything to which you are accustomed. You shall need a means to access the commodities of your home world. Avan Kerm Sin?
Guys!
Yes, I'm here. Of course I'm here.
She's here!
What do you have for me today?
My dear Feo Ul, paragon of pixie kind. For you, I have the most vital task. This fine gentleman is a friend from a distant realm. And we have need of a means to ferry things back and forth from his home. Might you be able to assist us in this matter?
Friendly reminder, pixies are all agender unless they use specific pronouns to refer to themselves. Like, that's just like a thing. It's like a part of their culture.
You came from beyond, didn't you? From beyond the rift.
Oh, the voice actress is so good!
Exciting. What a brave and reckless and marvelous thing you did. You've the heart of a pixie, you do. After careful consideration, I have decided to grant you my assistance. Make a pact with me and the fun can begin.
Oh, she's so good!
This traveler, did your garments come with you when you crossed over? Your teeth? Your nails? Just as I thought! Then you've a good stout connection with your home through which all your belongings, great and small, may easily pass.
This is a relevant plot point!
From this moment forth I will be your isne fis, and you my snay yak. Like the branch which sprouts from the sapling, our bond will flow unbroken from one to the other. Raise your hand.
I don't know if it's a direct equivalent, but it's definitely inspired by Gaelic, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's specifically.
We are bound now, dearest sapling. Come then, make your request, tell me your desire. I wish to visit this world of yours.
Mayhap a message to your friends in the Source to inform them of your safe arrival.
Send a message to Staru, baby!
Consider it done.
Get that Minnesotan Lalafell some dreams!
As you heard, that was Feo Ul of the Pixies. Their kind possess an affinity for magic akin to that of arcane beings. They rarely show themselves in populated areas, but Feo is insatiably curious even by Pixie standards, and seems to have taken a liking to the Crystarium. Right, we were going to organize a room for you, weren't we? Come along.
I was that there was somebody Gaelic. Yeah, I'm 9% sure that that's the root inspiration. It sounds like Welsh or Gaelic or a mix of both. Yeah, her accent is Scot. Is it Scot? I thought it was Irish. I don't think her accent's Scottish. Right? Am I crazy? Maybe I'm wrong. I wonder if Feo wandered into Black Shroud and met the Sylphs. That'd be cute. Welsh is the Sea Wolves' names. Yeah. I mean, basically the reason why we can't use retainers here. Yeah, there's lore reason why we can't use... No, but there's also plot points. Yeah. But that explains why you can't use retainers here. You can use Feoul instead. Actually, I don't know that I ever grabbed retainers on Elio, but let's see if I click on this, what happens. No, I've not hired retainers yet. But if you come here and you click on this in the first, what happens is that Feoul will spawn instead of your retainers. And then she goes to visit your retainers in your stead. Yeah, I love her. Everyone loves Feoul. Everyone's loved Feoul. You can always do that on my old replay. Okay. My favorite character incoming. I'm still curious how the story will feel. Alfie. Yeah, let me read your Alfie things. I'm curious if there's any other good points people make against my thoughts. Alfie's sort of because we haven't seen it so long. Oh, yeah. That's a good point, Sarah. You know, it's interesting because for me, though, I kind of like, though, how, like, almost more emotional Allie says is versus Alfie's, which is emotional, but it's, like, very much like, hey, you know? I love how they decided to explain small details like this. Yeah. I personally went with red. Yeah, we covered that. Then also worked for story reasons. Yeah. I like doing Alfie first because after Amarang made me upset and wanted to take some action. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think, like, the exact same reason that, like, I like the, like, undulation a little bit. Why you would want instead just have go a straight ramp. Yeah, I totally get that. Just because the first two parts, right, are to me like about inculcating yourself into the world there. And so that's why like the undulation works better for me. Whereas the ramp is just like tragedy to tragedy to tragedy. Like it's just like instead of like a you know. Don't clip that, please. That dread, yeah. So curious. Yeah. The accent is closer to Irish. Yeah, Irish is softer. I mean, I trust you, Tracy. Sad we can't use the barber, but it's lore. Yeah, I live in Britain, so I know. Yeah, I know you would know better than I would, Tracy. Ah, there you are. I was just finalizing the matter of your accommodations. You'll have a private room here at the Pendants for the duration of your stay, and make use of it as you see fit. When you're ready to retire, the manager will show you to your lodgings. Pray, rest and recuperate, and we shall reconvene in the ocular anon. I believe that covers all the practical concerns. Thank you for answering my call, Elio. We are denied the comforting blanket of night, but may peaceful dreams attend you nonetheless. A pleasure to meet you, sir, and welcome to your new home at the Pendants. Your room is ready if you care to retire. Let's go meet the other boy. And that's definitely, the Celtic mythology is usually what's being referenced in 14 specifically. But yeah, Lightheart, that's really an interesting insight. I know that's typically what Square's referencing when they use associations like that. You know, like Kelpie and all that jazz. I just, like, I love how you could look at that sky and it's always terrible, but beautiful. It's beautiful, but terrible.
You.
The return. He's here.
I know you. You're the warrior of light from the source.
The warrior of darkness? What are you doing here?
Did you just... You can hear me? Oh, gods, how long has it been?
100 years. I've been alone for 100 years.
That was what I called myself in your world. The warrior of darkness. My real name is Ardbert. I used an alias in the source. A daft one, looking back.
It was Arbert. Literally, he dropped the D. It was so stupid.
Recall my tale. It was my comrades and I who caused the flood. We thought our home doomed. And so we listened to the Ascians. Let them guide us to the source. And tried to hasten their goddamned ardor.
He's one of the best VAs in the entire game, no question.
I remember when we fell. Defeated by you and yours. I remember our audience with Minfilia. How she listened to our pleas. And returned our souls to the first.
For those of you who don't know, this is Gendry from Game of Thrones. Same actor.
The flood was poised to swallow Northrend. Minfilia and my friends, they surrendered what little they had left to hold it back. Just faded away. Leaving me to bear witness.
Buddy.
Tell me, do you know the year? How much time has passed since we caused the flood? A 100 years. 100 long years.
Joe didn't have to go that hard with Arbert's voice, but he did. Yeah, he really did. Someone said the boy in a Deadpool emote, and I'm looking for Deadpool behind me. I'm like, is he here?
My hands find no purchase. My gestures catch no eye, and my pleas, be they whispered or screamed, reach not a single ear. I am a shade, cursed to do naught but drift. I feel as if I've been walking forever. I hardly hardly noticed when my mind and body began to fray at the edges. Then bang! My senses were sharp again. I felt like a fish being reeled in, and before I knew it, I found myself in this room. Why is it that you can see me? What are you even doing here, come to that?
A great question. I was brought here by some crystalline motherfucker. Yeah, Aaron. Yep, I absolutely do want to hug him and tell him to get better.
Save the first. A waste of time. This world is beyond saving, like those who try to save it. Muddled as my mind may be, I've not forgotten that. But if fate has brought me to you, the one person in this God's forsaken world who can see and hear me, then perhaps there is a reason I endured. If I can find out why I was left behind, then maybe I can bring this journey of mine to an end. Well, I'll be watching, Warrior of Light. But do me a favor. Be careful out there. This world has had its fill of heroes.
Oh, what a good character! He's ashamed. I know he did wrong, but he needs forgiving. Yeah. But I mean, the thing is, like, for the most part, he didn't do wrong. He did everything right, and the one time that he started to make mistakes was out of desperation in order to save the world and those he loved, right? Like, you know, I think for the most part, Ardbert did right. And desperately was trying to do right the whole time. And still, it came to naught, you know? Aaron. Did he really do wrong, or was he duped into doing something wrong? Yeah, or also desperate, right? And when you make people desperate, he was on a timeline to save his world. I mean, you know, I can forgive him. I can absolutely forgive him for that. Exactly, mistakes and duplicity by Ascian Hand. Yeah. And I mean, look, hey, that's a big part of what Shadowbringers is also about in that, like, that narrative, that context about, and that conflict, right? What's good and what's bad. The conflict between light and dark. Shadowbringers broadly, right, is the discrepancy between symbols that mean good and symbols that mean evil, and what is good and what is evil, and not just about moral grayness, but actually coming up with answers to that in the face of a world that's more complicated, right? While also still not just like shrugging and being like, well, you know, there is no answer, right? But the same token, Endwalker is then about different things, but it's like very united and affecting into dealing with the Umbrella Dark Knights. I love you guys. The Ascian played on desperation hard. Yeah, well, that's the thing. The Ascian playbook is make people desperate, then play on desperation. It literally, you can simplify it all down to that. It is make people desperate and use that desperation as a tool, as a weapon. Like that is their playbook. The Ascians are great at making your good deeds turn foul. Yeah, that too. Since this is YouTube, we're contractually obligated to say like, share, and subscribe. Please do not lick the like button. Simply click on the like button. Simply clicking on the like button will do. I don't know where your devices have been. Thank you, Bean. And you're also welcome to join our Discord, or if you're on Crystal Curl, you can also join our FC and have a fun time with this whole group of people. We'd love to have you and love to play with you a whole bunch. Really would. Also, I'm just gonna nod at something that's obviously kind of foreshadowing, but I would like to point out, the Exarch makes a statement about how Urianger coming through the void saw the 8th Umbral Calamity, right? But notice that he summoned Thancred and Urianger and everyone else before Urianger came through the void. I'm only just noticing that the interesting bit about that statement this time around in specificity. I snorted out my drink. Yeah, let's just say in a past stream, I may have discovered that instead of saying like, share, and subscribe, because people then don't do any of them, I just said, why don't you just lick the like button? Because it like is specific and singular. And the problem is A, it worked, and B, multiple people actually did lick their devices. Look, I didn't think I had that kind of power, okay? That's what I love about Shadowbringers. It shows that light and dark work in equilibrium. Right. Well, and that iconography is not action, right? Master Elio, the exile awaits you within. Totally agree, Stuart. Suddenly occurred to me why I love this expansion so much. It introduces all the best characters. It introduces them, and it reintroduces you all into all the Scions and really, like, highly characterize them. I think, like, of all the Scions, the only Scion that doesn't come away being, like, a much, much stronger is arguably the twins and specifically Alice. And it's not because I think she's weak, I just think she was much stronger than some of the other Scions beforehand. But I think Y'shtol's a lot stronger, I think Urianger's a lot stronger, I think Urianger's a lot stronger, I think Thancred's a lot stronger, and so it's, you know, it's like these reintroductions also matter. So I just logged in to check on my island because I figured the workshop would get to max level and ooh, the guests. Sorry on my drink. Click the subscribe button and pet the bell. Pet that bell. I mean, yeah, if you want to be notified whenever we go live or when new videos come out and stuff, you can click that little bell icon and that's what that's supposed to do. And I did in fact lick my tongue to the touchscreen because thanks, Rowan. And this is why we can't have nice things. You're not wrong,
How did you
Bean.
find your new quarters? I trust you were able to rest.
Lovingly stroke the bell. I mean, it is like, it is chode shape, right? Like, we can all agree that, like, the bell, I mean, you stretch it out, it's dick shape, but if you know, it's like, a bell is just a chode, really, when you get down to it. Don't clip that. Well enough, thank you.
That is good to hear. Should you want for anything, pray let me know. Now, let us return to the subject of the Scion's whereabouts.
Map segments! I love map segments!
This map shows the lands of Norvrand, the only area to be spared the flood of light. The Crystarium is here, in the region known as Lakeland.
So Mordona.
To the north is the fairy kingdom of Il-Meg. That is where you'll find
Kurthus is.
Eorzean. To the east
Time for some-
lies the once prosperous civilization of Rak-Tika. Y'shtola is stationed there, in the heart of the forest.
Black Shroud.
Alas, neither location can be reached without considerable difficulty. As such, I would suggest you first seek out one of the twins, each of whom is stationed but a short flight from the Crystarium.
Well, if he says short flight, but Vilbrand's all the way across, like, all
Alphino is on
furthest
Calusa,
away.
an island off the western shore. It is home to a city called Yulmore, where the rich and privileged while away their days in idleness. For his part in furthering our cause, Alphino journeyed there to meet with the citizenry and forge alliances. From what I hear, he has since kept himself busy gathering information around the main settlement. Alice, meanwhile, traveled south to the arid wastes of Armareng. They lie upon the very edge of the inhabitable world, where the flood of light was halted. Those who dwell there live in constant fear of attack by the Sin-Eaters. In contrast to her brother, Alice felt that her energies would better be spent learning about the enemy, and thus she sells her services as a guard, both to hone her skills and gather information on our foe.
Alphino, I'm a diplomat. Alice, I'm gonna fight it.
Will it be Calicia or Armareng? It matters not which you choose to visit first. Simply inform me once you have made your decision, and I will see to it that you are provided with a suitable mount.
I think this is also just a much stronger split choice than Heaven's
You
Word
must
or
be wondering
Stormblood.
about Thancred. He has taken up with a new companion, and is presently engaged as a wandering hunter of Sin-Eaters. Being ever on the move, his whereabouts are often difficult to ascertain, but I am certain your paths will cross ere long.
I just realized I think my face is mirrored by the Exarch, because his crystal's on one side and my scar's on the other. Just meet us that we won't end. hey, Raven, I forgot. You gave me the Pudgy Puck for on Elio, so I can actually use it. Awesome. Thank you very much. And thank you for the chocolates. And the dodo omelet. Much obliged. Put back on my glam. But we have nice things, Bean. We have you. Aww. And Ray and Vivi. But yes, the bean is very good. Very sweet. Instructions unclear, looking like button. I'm not wrong about the chode bell. Stop making me laugh when I take a drink. Your fault. Time for some fucking geography, boys! Yeah. Yeah. It's good times. Dude, I made it, like, one of my favorite videos I've ever made was like a 40-minute long video on Eorzean geography. Or Hydaelyn geography, man. Do you know Lahi? We're gonna have to like, part of like setting up for going into Endwalker is gonna have to be watching that and watching that whole like fan fest or something. Fayeul jumps out of some corner singing the map song from Dora the Explorer. I'm the map. La Scree, Lahi, you're welcome. Thank you again for taking lessons. Yeah, of course, Raven, anytime. And if you have any further questions about it. In search of Alice. Ready to depart from Orang. Alice will be overjoyed to see you safe. I know she was particularly concerned for your well-being. She, impressed upon me how regrettable the timing of her summoning was. Repeatedly. I only hope that my part in sending you to her will garner me some measure of forgiveness. Here, this is a letter of introduction addressed to a man named Cassard, the master of a merchant caravan. There are few who know the ways of the desert as well as he does. Find him at the Amaro launch, and he will see that you reach your destination. Oh, can I accept both at once? Oh, cool. You will visit Alfino and Calusia then. Excellent. As I mentioned, your destination is an island off the west coast, so you will need a mount capable of making the journey. Here's a letter of introduction, presented to Zem Degenemai, the master of beasts at the Temenos Rookery, and he will take care of you. When you see Alfino, be sure to pass all my warmest regards. Why are you like this, Mustard? I mean, why is he like this? Because we all love it, and he's a memer. He knows, because he understands his audience. That's why he's like that. This does not stop making my heart swell each time. But also, if you guys want to go play or do anything, don't feel like you have to stay. He's a living meme. He really is. I mean, whether it be the Asian thing, whether it be the dancing that just the freaking hat dance, dude, the man's a legend. Why is he what? So talented? Yeah, we like it here. I must sweep the tea tree leaves as we speak. Good job, Ukes. I'm kind of, like, part of me is torn. I really want to, like, only want to stay in the first on Elio until I beat Shadowbringers, but also that means I, like, can't go to the tea tree on him, so I'm torn. If we aren't here, we are at the tree. It's true. I was wondering why I was hearing the balance, and then I remembered I put that on my Islands orchestration. Dude, In the Balance is great, and I love the story of In the Balance is so good. Oh, I feel like people miss how good the like lore story of In the Balance is as well. New tea tree at Crystarium, go! Yeah, short-term interim tea tree. Have a contest to see who finds the best one. We need a spot on the first. Yeah, if you guys want to try to find the perfect tree on the first, you want to make it so that's easily accessible and also a good, stopping place. I've been babysitting my retainer all day, to be honest, so it's too shaky to do stuff in the game today. No worries. If you come looking for work, I might have a spot for another guard. Why is Alice's blue and Alfino's is red? Oh, a friend of the Exarch. Hoping to meet someone in Amarang, are you? Then I shall be your guide. I was about to set off for our outpost there, as a matter of fact, so we can leave right away, assuming you have everything you need. Dude, Amarang has one of my favorite, it's like top 3 or at least top 5, yeah, top 3 probably overworld map music. All set then? Off to go to the unforgiving sands we go. Dude, Amarang's music is so good. And I love how, like, so much, like, synth and otherworldly like, Soken goes hard on everything, but Soken went hard on Shadowbringers.
From this parched earth, the nation of Nabath, Arang once rose. When I journeyed here, long ago, I spoke with a sun-weathered elder. He told me Armarang meant majestic land in the language of his people. And so it might still be, were it not for the light's unrelenting onslaught.
Okay, so 2 things I want to talk about. One, after we get through Amarang, do people want me to put on a meme about Amarang's music in order to cool down? And secondly, if you're, I'll say this, the Amarang section has a part of it that hits me in all the things that upset and disturb me the most. Like, not just like, oh yes, it's very upsetting. I mean, like, specific things that bother me in, like, horror or in nerds. Like, and I don't mean bad bother. I mean, like, they're good because they should upset you, right? They're constructed to upset you. But I would just, like, say, forewarning for this section, if you're easily upset and you haven't played through Shadowbringers before, be forewarned. I know that I literally had to put the game down for a night after I finished this section. Oof. No matter how many times I come here, the heat never fails to catch me off guard. Don't be surprised when the temperature drops at night, though. The sky is still bright, of course, but it gets brisk enough to make you shiver. Now, the Exarch's letter said I was to take you in the inn at Journey's Head, which is where the Alice's friend of yours is staying. That's a fair old distance, so I propose we make a stop in Mord Soak to break up the trek. Allow me to attend to some business, and you to enjoy local hospitality. Sound good? Good. Alright, you lot, I'm off, and I'd better not see the goods covered in sand when I get back. Right, we head southwest, straight as an arrow. And I also, like, just want to reiterate this again. It is perfect. Like, it is heartbreaking and disturbing and upsetting, and it should be, and it conveys to you the desperation that the first exists in and is under. So, like, me having that emotional response to it is a good thing and is a strength of the writing and execution, not like oh, it's upsetting, I wish they hadn't, you know? I will say it's one of the only cutscenes in the game that I haven't ever watched a second time. It's been, what, 2.5 years or something since I've seen it? And I still think about it regularly. Stop here a moment. This is your first visit to Amarang, is it not? And if I'm overhyping it, honestly, that's good. If it underwhelms you, that might be for the best. Before you cross the river of sand, you need to turn around and feast your eyes on that. God, it's so beautiful. The sky. Gigantatender. They built them big, didn't they? Oh. They built them big, didn't they? That's Quasar Shal, a fortress meant to protect the northern reaches of Nabath Arang. Seeing what was left behind, I believed it when they said that it was once one of Norvrant's mightiest nations. At least until the flood came along. Great chunks of Nabath Arang's lands were lost to the light, its great city included. The few who survived didn't see much point in staying. Most of them, anyway. No, not many choose to come here these days. Not with everything's in ruins. Even the hulking great fortress has become a little more than an Amaro roost for me and my caravan. But not everywhere is as deserted as this place. Just wait until you see Mord Soak. Let's press on, shall we? Not the sand again! It's coarse, it's rough, it gets everywhere! And I hate it. Zach, I don't know if I said good to see, glad to have you, but good to see, glad to have you. You said yurt instead of yo. I love the video someone made of when Hold the Music hits, but replaced with this. Tam, I think that's the exact meme I was planning on showing, so we'll get to that. A few nights of memes would be good. Yeah, sounds good, Rhyme. I can't say in chat what upset me the most about this area, yeah. The first post-apocalyptic. Yeah, Gigantatender, pray destroy the waking saints. It's beautiful in a horrifying way, yeah. Sand is coarse and rough and irritating. Gets everywhere. AC, good to see you, glad to have you. Here we are, Mordsulk, by the Blessed Shadow. I love this town. Mordsulk, not just full of Mord, but Humes and all manner of others too. It's long been a refugee for folk displaced by the flood, so the population is nothing if not diverse. Oh, have you met the Mord before? They might look like shifty little blighters, but a more welcome lot you could never wish to meet. Speaking of which, we should pay our respects to Master Gengen. I'll go ahead and let him know we've arrived. So question, I also got another question, because if I'm never planning to leave the, during 5.0, leave the first, do we do all the Gladiator Paladin stuff then during 5.x as warm-up? Because we're going to have to do that at some point in preparation for Endwalker. And do we just not do warm-ups? Because there's not really a lot to... I guess we could do a side quest, just a random side quest. Or we could do, for each map, we could do their blue side quest to unlock flight for a warm-up. I fucking love kobolds! That's a kobold.
Master Gengen, this is the friend of the Exarch I was telling you about.
Very good, very good. Though friend or no, all are welcome in Mord's.
I love them.
Souk is
So good.
Mordish for city. As things stand, this souk boasts the largest and busiest marketplace in all Armorang. You'll find ore from the mines here, of course, but all manner of other things too. Many of them rare. As I told you before, not many visit Armorang by choice, but Mord Souk's a different story.
You gotta let me know when you do the
Merchants
replay,
come
V.
from realms around to purchase the relics the Mord dig up.
Aye, that they do. For Mord do not dismiss the spoils of the earth. We clean them and polish them and reveal to the world their true value. That is why they come here, come from far away, come with much money. And so our souk is always busy, busy, busy. No such thing as a thing no one needs.
You say that every time, Master Gengen. Some sort of family motto, wasn't it? Or perhaps a Mord philosophy, for which we should all be very grateful. Would that everyone was so willing to take in refugees regardless of race or creed. Now then, if you intend to spend any time here, you'll want to gain the trust of the locals. And there's a little custom all newcomers are expected to observe.
The cracking of the coin purse. You buy one thing from the market. Price can be low or high, just as long as you buy.
I love them.
As the good Mord says. In fact, the Exarch sent a little something to cover this very expense. A Verbert gold piece, no less. The first I've held in years.
Verbert gold? Real Verbert gold?
Here, newcomer, crack your coin purse with me.
Oh no, you want my goods, newcomer? I have jars and pots all smooth and shiny.
That's Thanker's voice actor.
Over here!
Come and look.
You buy, you buy.
God, Thanker's always everywhere. Update, we have found tree candidates.
Calm, I say. This one must still journey through the barrens. Nothing bulky, nothing heavy, no pots.
No pots.
Nothing better for the road than a full belly. Spend that piece at Ronron's place, yes? Eat for 3 before you leave.
It's more soup. Damn. Find it interesting how more don't have the verbal take a kobold soup. Yeah, it makes sense though, right? Grew up with different, under different conditions. So the ticks and stuff would be different. I like the idea of not leaving the first. What BDIs? Okay, cool. Friend-shaped. I'm not used to be clear-speaking kobold. I love the idea of cracking of the coin. Yeah, it's a good idea. I love that idea. It's just like a very like small tradition, you know, very friendly, gets you ingratiated and like starts engaging with people. The Mort are so eloquent with their speech than the kobold that's quite glaring. Yeah. Looking at you, Ulda. I have a question. The speech and mannerisms of kobolds and goblins, do you think that they have that because common tongue is not their native language? It's interesting. So the speech patterns of goblins is definitely, it's not because so much that, because Eorzean isn't their native tongue. I mean, it kind of is, but what it is because their language, you can just mush things together. They just mush things together in Eorzean, and it works, and that's how you get gobby speech, basically. With kobolds, the tick, I don't know if it's a byproduct of their native tongue manifesting outright into common Eorzean, but that would make sense, right? Like you think about the back channeling that exists in like Japanese, right? Like Disho or stuff, and like how that could mean that when you speak English you might put emphasis, or like how you speak in English and then how you might speak Japanese because of that. So it makes sense, Kathra, but we don't know enough about their. Here, let's pull up real quick. That's Dravonian, Goblin, Emulsion, Sylphic. Well, that's interesting. We don't get anything on the kobolds. Huh. We don't have an entry on kobold speak. Which potentially means that the common tongue is their natural tongue. Because we have an entry on everybody else. Let me check E1 real quick. Because I didn't remember there being an entry about their tongue, which was throughout. That's why I was like, huh, I must be forgetting something. But no, there's not an entry on it. Nomenclature. The name of the kobolds consists of extremely short, single-syllable sounds. With the clan name preceding the first name, Zuga, for example. Blah, 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 blah. Simplicity of the system resulted in many individuals sharing the same moniker, a matter compounded by the race's tendency to birth large litters of young. While this would lead to confusion in most societies, the issue of identical names is rendered largely unimportant by the Moleman's fixation upon rank and occupation. For instance, rather than simply stating a birth name, a kobold might introduce as third-order That doesn't really help either. There's no indication that they don't speak anything other than common Eorzean. Which is fascinating in its own right. This is Kobold. E-Machine, good to see you, glad to have you. I mean, it's not Kobold Erasure, it just made they don't. I mean, you think about where they are on Vilbrin, and that kind of makes sense. So you're leveling your rolls for roll quests, or too much work there? No, that's a great idea. I hadn't even thought about decoy, but we have a tank. We have a melee DPS. So I just need to do a caster and a caster or ranged, and I need to do a healer. Yeah, we can absolutely do that. For some reason, because those stories are really important, so good call, Decoy. For some reason, the big man makes me imagine if it was voiced by Tim Curry, similar tone of voice. Which they didn't find a place not spoiled by capitalism. Space! Also getting the fact that in the first, the Morden Dwarves swapped their place compared to the Lalathon Kobolds with the desert and the volcanic mountains. Yeah, I guess so, but I mean, the Lalafell are also in, you know, the Planesfolk are here, the Dunesfolk are just there, but yeah, I see what you're saying, AC. Yeah, Tam, but that's why I said either ranged and melee? Is it not? No, right, caster is its own. Ranged and melee is the same. It's, okay, for some reason I thought ranged physical and caster physical were the same, but no, you're right, it is melee and ranged. Cool, so I guess I just need a caster and a healer, but we'll still need a ranged for Endwalker.
Welcome to Run, travelers. I have ways to employ to burst fill your belly. Take your time, stare and sniff before you choose, but no drooling on the merchandise, yes?
No, because the caster quest is very specifically. Yeah, that's what made me remember Tim. Yeah. The caster quest is the one that one of the ones. Actually, I remember the only one that I didn't love was the melee ranged. The other ones I remember pretty strongly. Bread, worms, bread, meat. Let's go with bread.
I call that mush loaf. The middle is stuffed with bittersweet cactus fruit, so even if its bread dries out, it's still moist inside. Keeps you going in the heat.
I'll let you guys pick what we eat.
Oh, you like those? Chewy skewers. Find small frogs hiding under rocks. Speak with sticks and then roast over a fire. Quickly on the outside, gooey on the inside. Perfect for snacking. That is my ever-burning bounty, made with the best parts of the lizard, cured with spicy spices some find the smell challenging, but it'll warm you up in the chilly desert nights. Everyone's favorite plump white worm slathered in honey. Once you eat a glazed wriggler, you'll never want any other treat. 'Cause eat as wares if you have coin.
Brian, glad to have you. Happy Monday.
They all look tasty, yes?
I'll let you guys pick. I'm gonna give it catch up and you guys tell me. Sage, easy in terms of quick healers. Probably not though, because like narrative-wise, there's reasons to do White Mage instead. And also, I'd rather not my only healer be Sage. Just I don't know. I'd rather have like the classical ones for sure unlocked. You know, would be easy, but. No, because the caster quest is very I just came from watching Final Fantasy 14 4 Hour retrospective and surprised at how heavy 4 references are in Shadowbringers. Yeah. Well, that's the thing that's great. I think people miss out a lot of times. People think like, oh, Endwalker's the 4 expansion or something, but it's like, no, a lot of them have like a bunch from other Final Fantasies all throughout. There's a bunch of Final Fantasy 1 in Shadowbringers. There's so much of one in Shadowbringers. It's crazy. Spice meat. For me, I chose mush loaf. Sounded the least terrible of the choices. Mush loaf, chewy skewer, agree. Okay, skewer was between skewer and meat. I'm gonna. I want to see this war. I want to see the war between skewer and meat. Ever-burning bounty. Y'all are nuts. Frogs are fine. Taste just like chicken. V, have you eaten a lot of frogs? Arcanist for both caster and healer. Yeah, that's maybe not a bad idea. I was thinking I'd probably instead go White Mage, Black Mage, though, just because I think like having them is very classical and it would be like useful for talking about for other points later. But maybe, I guess you're right. In terms of convenience, best plan would be Sage. Well, I guess Arcanist wouldn't matter then because you wouldn't need Scholar. But I also love the Scholar quest. We'll figure that out. We're gonna unlock them all eventually. But I think we're gonna probably wait till we get to Endwalker, finish 6.0, then go back and do any ones we missed. Okay, I'm giving it 10 seconds. Frogs have a strange tangy taste. Frogs cooked right are good. Frogs' legs, I lived in Florida a long time, okay? I'm not judging, I'm curious. I wouldn't have guessed. I didn't know it was a huge thing in Florida. Okay, looks like it's skewer. I'll go with the chewy skewer. Seems least dangerous.
Chewy quick. Easy meal to carry you across the desert, yes. You have the goal? And then, one Volbertite's honor buys you 65 skewers.
65 of them? Oh no. Bling, don't you start. Scholar Quest is probably like my third favorite. And maybe even second favorite. The top 3 for me, easy top 3, Red Mage, Scholar, Dark Knight. Those are the 3 best job quests in my opinion.
Every last mouthful. What an appetite, what a belly. A new legend is born in Mord Soak. Consider your coin purse cracked. I am pleased to accept your custom, and Gen will be pleased that you honored ours. Keeping the merchandise down, yes? No returns. Jarek just over there eating their food. Are you mocking me, good sir? Regulars unlocked legendary 60. What? What? Tried frog legs before, really tough meat, but did taste like chicken. Back when I was a child, my grandparents ate frog's legs, but you have to remember I'm pretty ancient myself. Different times, different places. Rip. If I recall, I absolutely sat there and ate all of them. If it was tough, they just sounds overcooked like any meat. Most annoying thing with frogs is that they're mostly bone with very little meat. Really? I wouldn't have guessed that. Lived in Florida all my life and never had a frog. You expect that to be more popular in Louisiana. Good lord, God, I love the mortar. Yeah, mortar, great. How many worms would you have gotten with them being smaller? A bushel. That's my answer. I love crab's legs too, yeah. Don't love the work, but I do love the crab's legs. I guess, but if you accept the work as part of the enjoyment, then I think it's easier to enjoy. How often did the Vobert currency come into? How often? Well, I mean, presumably it would have come in pretty frequently as they would have had cross travel. You know, if only Will was here, Will would be able to answer some of that. Potentially. I mean, like, specifically, the Exarch got at the idea that the cross civilization trading was a thing. We know that was also a thing before the common guild was accepted as well as a practice. So I would say it wouldn't be infrequent at their height. It definitely wouldn't be infrequent. Yeah, work is part of the fun. Yeah, same with lobster. I was watching from here, Elio. Your honors our customs with great relish. You will always be welcome in Mortzok. If you need anything in Amring, we are here to provide.
You have courage, my friend. Ronron's wares are more exotic than harmful, but I don't envy you the bellyache you'll have on the morrow. Right, now that you've eaten, I'll expect you're eager to get back on the road. Would you mind if we delayed our departure a touch? I have a few deals left to close before I conclude my business here in Mortzok.
Like, that's the thing I feel like people forget about Shadowbringers. Shadowbringers, like, once it gets going, it's going, but so do all the expansions. It's a slow start, just like the other expansions. In some ways it's slower, but it does a much better job of doling it out correctly and also interspersing with emotions and curiosity and voice acting.
Oh, offering your services, are you? Aye, well, an assistant would certainly help hurry things along. I have a receipt here for some goods that need picking up from the market. All properly paid for. You just need to do the lifting and carry it. I'll go take care of some last-minute haggling then. See you in a bit.
Did you know that lobster and crayfish are kin to spiders? Yeah, I mean, like, that's always been the thing, right? They're basically sea pests, effectively. And they didn't used to be considered, like, delicacy food. They were considered peasant food for a long time. Wait, what? No. This is Boon Boon's private swarm stash, not for sale.
I'm not a huge fan of seafood in general, but crab cakes specifically seem like a lot of work for a little benefit. Give me a good crab cakes any day, though.
I'm not a fan of crab cakes.
But then again, I like my bread pure, so I'm a weirdo. How satisfying is when you can pull a whole chunk out without breaking it. Yeah.
Hungry again? You have a strong stomach, friend, but I wouldn't eat those.
Is there a way to, like, check what's needed? Is that why spider meat is a fantasy world just treated as crab meat in cooking?
Is it?
I had no idea that was a thing. That makes sense, though. Right. I love how much you commit to it, Jarek, and like try to make it seem like a normal NPC. It's great. If you're handling Castor's porter work, you've come to the wrong place. He has no outstanding orders with my shop. I wish once you checked on them, they would disappear. Actually, let's learn about... Not enough coin to use an aetheryte, or perhaps just magical nonsense isn't to your liking. Either way, our armoro can take you where you need to go. But before you fly, there's a couple things I should point out. Firstly, whatever happens, don't let go of the reins or dismount until you arrive. The armoro won't stick around to see if you'd like to change your mind. It'll just fly off. Secondly, you'll need to have registered... this is just the same normal stuff. I have no problems with spiders, lobsters, crawfish, but scorpions on the other hand. Really? That's interesting that no problem with the other ones, but scorpions you have a problem with. That's fascinating. And wow, you cook spider legs. Right! I forgot about that.
Hey, no touching the merchandise in spoken for. You couldn't possibly change my mind with a better offer. Custard sent you. Well, why didn't you say so? I wouldn't dream of selling his goods to a higher bidder. Oh, no. Nabath Arang's relics, wasn't it? All packed in the box there. Handle with care. I wonder what the Japanese for their name is, because, like, it's that they're doing, like, the THIL to TIL, right? Or there's adding that H, but, like, there's no lone H. I'm wondering, like, how it's woven in, like, what they're mimicking, or if it's just a replication in Japanese as well. If it's just, like, toto. You know, like... I remember... I totally forgot about this, but I remember, like, having to wander around forever trying to find the right thing when I first played this. Oh, is there a list? Oh, okay. Table cactus, thon, iron ore, thol. Okay. I didn't... Okay, well, I guess I just missed out that was literally shown to me. I'm a fool! There's thol. I think H might be an O that is stretched out. Could be. Cassar sent you, did he? Right, yes. What kind of ore was it again? Iron ore. Iron ore, of course. That would explain this box I have here. It's all yours. Now, okay, you know what? I'm curious. Okay, thol. Okay. Let me pull up Garland. And what was the name of the last one? It was thol. Find that. Okay. Thol. Amarang. Okay, what's his name in Japanese? Change it to Japanese. His name is Toru. Oh, it's an elongation. Oh, yep. You were straight right. So yeah, it's an elongation. So for those who don't know what I mean, let me, English to Japanese. Let me just, like, convey what I mean here. It would look like this. So you see, like, it's toru. I mean, if you don't know Japanese, that first one is a to. That line is like an elongator, and that, like, last one is oru. So it's like toru. And that's what the H. So you were spot on with that, Ryan. I can't imagine the dwarves would be like living in a desert with their heavy clothing and beards. Wouldn't it be hot? Yeah, presumably. I mean, that's maybe a good reason why they wouldn't have ended up here. But by the same token, the cliffs of Calusia aren't exactly not that. Where is this last one? Anyone know where the last one is? Wait, herbal remedies, is that it? You came with Cassard, yes? Good. I can finally stop thinking about the sack. Please, take your prickly purchase. Did you guys know that in Delicious in Dungeon that living armors are actually a form of shellfish? So you can eat them? Imagine that, eating suits of armor. I'm not sure what you're referring to. And wow, yeah, spider meat shares the image for crab meat. Interesting. And reincarnated as a slime, they made a giant hot pot of an armored spider. Huh. Cool. Don't tell me you've been around the entire market already. 2 questions. Does anyone have any lore things that they want to contextualize? Because I know there's a lot going on. And all right, that's a lot. All right, good work. And for Shadowbringers. And secondly, does anyone have any? Because we'll be wrapping up probably maybe in 30 minutes for now, maybe a little less. Questions for Susan Calloway for the answer stuff. Because I just want to make sure I get that down. You can also message me on the Discord. And quick work too, considering you're not set foot in the place before. I thought you wanted to sit in the city like an exarch, but something tells me you're not a stranger to visit in strange lands. Unfortunately, your efficiency presents something of a problem. I'd hoped to conclude all my business before you returned, but it seems there's been some confusion over one of the orders I placed. I have to drag in my middleman and sort of this mess out. I'm sorry to make you sit around and twiddle your thumbs, but... Cassard, it feels like an age since I last saw you. Hey, Tesleen. Well, if it isn't the lovely Tesleen, it has been a while, but your timing couldn't be better. This gentleman was on his way to meet with Alice, supposed to be taking him to your corner of the desert, but a misplaced order has commandeered my attention. Wait, I know who you are. Alice has told me so much about you. You're Elio, aren't you? I knew it! How wonderful to meet you in the flesh after hearing all those stories. I'm Tesleen. I work as a carrier at the inn. I've gotten to know Alice quite well since she took up guard duties there. Do you want me to take you over as Elio's guide, Cassard? My shopping's all done and packed for the road, so it would be no trouble. That would be a great help, thank you. Well, it looks like you'll be able to head straight out after all. My caravan and I will be in the area for a while yet. Seek me out when you've had your fill of Amarang, and I'll send you back to the Crystarium. Yeah, Tam, although it's like, it's more like, it'll be thin, but it will be like breathable material, right? Like that's the important part of the important thing. Oh, actually, wait, I actually gotta, and then. I'd like to point out that we're like, how many hours in and we have not seen a single fight? Alice has been desperate to see you, Elio, so let's get you to her sooner rather than later. The inn isn't too hard to find, really. You can actually see the top of the rock spires from here. We just need to swing around the ridge, then head south. Come on, I'll get my supplies together and meet you outside. Dude, Jarek, your placement's amazing. Climates are rather temperate near the coast, aren't they? Yeah, but like, remember like up on the top of the cliffs, right? It's like shown to be like very dusty and like rocky. She's so pretty, but she looks like a little girl. Does she? I mean, I'm like an Eorzean, so I'm taller than her, but I don't think she looks like a little girl. Oh, I should probably mention the wildlife. Well, most of them will leave you be if you keep your distance. The local coyotes have learned to prey on folk heading home from the markets. I can usually swing a sword well enough to fend them off, but I may have loaded myself down with too many bargains today. Do you think you could handle any of the beasts that try to make a meal of us? I thought you might. Alice was always saying how much you... I mean, let's just get going, shall we? Oh, I hope that they go back and they change that to like a follow quest. I mean, actually, I'm sure a bunch of people hope that doesn't happen. I missed you, Dark Knight! Rip and tear! I get to main you for a whole expansion, it'll be wonderful. Edge for days. Sorry, there wasn't much time to shout a warning. Were you bitten? Those things can be nasty, and yet hardly a match for you. It seems I'd always thought Alice was strong, but in her mind, she was never... Now it makes sense. Ah, well, we should push on. It might be best if you scout ahead and clear out any coyotes that have our scent. I'll wait here so you can fight without any distractions. Probably have the obvious question like, has she played Final Fantasy 14? Does she have a favorite expansion? What race does she play? Hey, you know, like people think that obvious, you know, is too obvious, but then like no one asks it, and based on questions haven't been asked. So I've been reviewing a lot of her existing interviews and stuff. So she has, and from talking to Light, she has not played in 14 yet. Favorite expansion? I don't know that she would have one because she hasn't played it, obviously. What race does she play? Yeah, if she doesn't, she doesn't, yeah. I mean, which are good questions, right? Because, like, let's say no one had ever asked that before in an interview. I mean, that's totally worth asking. And now I'm partially just being a lore person about her, where I know, like, her lore. Alice has such a crush on the Warrior of Light. It's great. She really does. Also, I have to ask about the alcohol in the desert. What will the dwarves drink? Cactar wine? I mean, have you seen Avatar: The Last Airbender? And have you seen how the dwarves like to get crunked? I would, you know, contend that they want to get like Sokka in Avatar when they're in the desert. We haven't seen a single fight. Initiates the first quest with purple destinations. That may or may not have been intentional, Tam. In FF3, how important of the role did the Warrior of Darkness have? I mean, depends on what you mean. Also, the Warrior... Why am I need to replay 3. Oh, thank goodness you're back. I could hear the howling and snarling from here. Frightful creatures. Let's hope the rest have seen your handiwork and know to avoid us now. I need to get these supplies back to the inn. Well, yeah, to be honest, I have not seen her in previous interviews, so probably new questions. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's honestly why I'm listening to all the old questions. I'm trying to, like, see, like, okay, if someone was asked 8 years ago, sure, I'll ask it again. But, like, someone was asked, like, 2 years ago, like, okay, cool, we have the information for that. So I have, like, already a huge, like a list of, like, notes and, like, questions to ask and taking it very seriously. And the opportunity to heart. Cactus water, yeah. I never saw that little idle animation of her shifting the box to get a better grip. It's the little things. It's the bomb. Yeah, it's the thirst quencher. The thirst quencher! Power thirst now comes in woman! Banana, fizzbitch, and gun! What if everything you ever wanted came in a rocket can? Power thirst, rocket edition! Okay, I'll stop. That entire thing lives rent-free in my mind, and has for 20 years, or almost 20 years now. This is it. Thanks to you, I didn't have to drop my shopping even once. Come to think of it, I'm glad I didn't make the trip alone. It seems you ended up escorting me. I'll have to repay the favor somehow. But first, let's head inside, shall we? We lost some guys aboard. Bet that is amazing. She does like answering questions. She does like answering questions as her affinity for doing the voice work of Alice. Yes! Yes, I know Popo Jagaimo a while ago did a lovely interview with her. Welcome to the inn at Journey's Head. You might be our first visitor from the Crystarium since Alice arrived. It's not much, but it's home for the afflicted and a handful of carriers. The afflicted? You don't know? I don't think I've met anyone besides Alice who was so unfamiliar with our situation here. Most folk have grown up knowing someone who knew someone. I might leave out something obvious, so it may be best to have Alice give you full explanation. Beyond being a foe of awareness, the second himself up the heroes being cloud of darkness. What made her accept singing answers if she hasn't played the game? Did anything about it speak to her in some way? Yeah, just spitballing. No, I appreciate the spitballing, B. I'll make sure to add it to the notes. Yeah, we'll definitely touch on that. Rather, there's not much to know about them, more invested in them beyond a plot point. Yeah, I mean, like, that's part of why I don't remember them very much, AC, is I don't remember there being a whole bunch to talk about, frankly. Also, coming back to this area is the first time I've been back to that specific area, and there's new dialogue option. Interesting.
Now, where is she? I think she might be out on patrol. You could wait, I suppose, but why not go and surprise her? You usually take a look at things from the watchtower first, so you might be able to catch her there. It's not so far, but head out on the south gate and you'll soon see it. I'll stay behind in case she comes back while you're gone. We do love wild stories here, yep. Cat, good to see you, glad to have you. Oh no, almost time for the horror. Yeah, well, here, let's... sorry, I'm just kidding. Let's try not to you know, spoil stuff. I'd like to know how much was revealed to her of the story that early on, how much of the late expansion stuff was known and prepared but kept quiet. Yeah, so what'll be interesting about that is remember that AR wasn't written by Ishikawa, and Answers was more Uematsu than it was Soken as well. So what'll be interesting is that there's a lot of like handing off of ideas. So I wouldn't be surprised to find out that not a lot. Like the intentionality of the thing is, I think they made what they made for Answers and Hydaelyn and her role and her specifics, and then there wasn't probably, I would suspect there wasn't a lot of specificity, but I'm excited to ask questions like that. So yeah, I have notes for that, but I'll make sure to continue battling that. Alisaie is nowhere to be seen, but you spot fresh footprints on the ground, and they look to be about the right size. The small footprints lead off to the northwest. Oh god, I tuned in just for this time. Yeah. Artemis, good to see you, glad to have you. Did you hear about what happened to the top clear? I heard that there was someone who cleared. Well, she might be. I've heard her talk about the hero doing it. Footprints continue on to the northwest. I'm so not used to being the same level and having like pulling enemies so easy. I mean, you think I would after like, I mean, I playing through Around Reborn, Heaven's Word, and Stormblood. But I get so used to like what the like 20 levels above radius is. The footprints curve around to the west. There are more tracks here, but they end in a mess of disturbed sand. Oh, the walls, again, beautiful and terrible. You know what it is and represents.
Get back here!
Is that... It can't be.
Ha!
Gotcha. You almost lost that one.
I had it under control, right up until the moment I didn't. I'll do better next time. I knew you'd turn up sooner or later, but I had been hoping for sooner. How are you?
This is a very important cutscene.
We've
Dynamic
fallen to
entry.
a standstill then. The Exarch did say that the Empire seemed to have drawn back when he last looked in on the source. But without knowing for sure how fast time was passing there, I couldn't help worrying that a lot might have happened since then.
Well, Tam, it wasn't.
I'm
It was focusing on her
heartily relieved to hear
outfit.
that it hasn't, just as Alpha
was
must
showing-
have been. As
it was
you
showing
can
her
imagine,
outfit
both
and
he and
weapon.
Eorzean were desperate to hear the news from home when I arrived. I haven't actually seen Thancred and Y'shtola yet, but they will have heard all the latest developments from the Exarch by now, or should have at least. When I think of how frantic Tataru and the others must be, I want nothing more than to rush back and reassure them. But we still haven't found a way to reverse the summoning. And even if we had, we couldn't just ignore Urielge's vision. He may use 10 words where one would suffice, and they may often obscure as much as they reveal. But on this matter, he was as clear as day. I do not doubt for one moment that he saw what he claims. Nor how difficult it must have been to speak about them. The 8th Umbral Calamity and your death aren't exactly topics for idle conversation. As much as I might want to go home, I don't want to go home to that. We can't allow the rejoining to happen, which means we have to save the first from the Sin Eaters.
I hear you guys. I just didn't even kind of think that it was what it was doing.
That great wall of white is a remnant of the flood. 100 years ago, the balance in the first tipped decisively in favor of light. From that moment, it rose and swelled with each passing day, and then, without warning, it burst forth like water from a broken dam. A colossal wave of pure light, drowning everything in its wake. Only Norvrant was spared. For the most part, living things are composed of ether of various different aspects. But when exposed to such a flood, their etheric harmony is shattered, and their natural form breaks down.
Makes sense. Same with tempering.
Then they either perish, or are warped into mindless abominations.
It wasn't. It's just the only point you
Yes,
get to see the wall from.
That's how the Sin Eaters came to be.
Oh, unless you mean
They
like
were
why they
once
chose that. I
living
see what you're saying. Yeah.
creatures or people that were caught in the path of the flood. Once the change is wrought, there is no going back. In that instant, they are gripped by an insatiable appetite for ether and will happily gorge themselves on any living thing within reach. But even that is not the worst of it. The stronger Sin Eaters can plant light in us.
Tam,
like
be very
seeds
careful
in
about what you
soil,
say.
corrupting our ether and triggering the birth of new monstrosities. They are creatures of base instinct that exist only to feed and to multiply. They feel no pity, know no remorse, and are utterly deaf to reason, which is why they must be destroyed. Every last one of them. The infirmary is full of the Sin Eaters' victims, left here to spend their final hours waiting for the change to overtake them.
Okay. Thank you, Jellybean. Yeah, reminder, I know everyone's excited for things and stuff and other undimensionals, but no spoilers, please. Please, and if you're hinting at saying, hey, I'm excited for this thing that's about to happen, like right this second, you know, or like coming up, oh, this thing, that's still a spoiler. I honestly have known Susan for 8 years, and by luck, she hired me for as my job and community manager. Cool. Is our uncanny luck in finding items due to the echo? I don't think so. I think just skilled at it, but I mean, you could hypothesize that. Good thing Dark Knight doesn't use actual darkness because in 4 undead are resistant to darkness. Well, I mean, they still do use darkness. Like, they use astral, too. And it's just part of their, like, tool set. Ankle crunch sound effect. Alice really jumping out like 50 feet. What an entrance. A little bit of Dragoon in her. I do think it's my favorite Alice outfit. Is there a good reason to have to focus on her thighs? We already talked about that. Is Rapier the one you can get from the Castrum Albina dungeon? Yeah. Yeah, I know one of you guys keeps reminding us that. Yeah, fair. It did feel like shit will weird to pan up that way. Yeah, I really just felt like that was like a clothing shot. Like, I feel it'd be weirder to pan down. Because you're just like showing like the totality of the outfit, and they've done that with other characters as well. Just noticed part 69. Nice. I'm too used to how other video games characters treat females. I say 16, so I don't think it's wrong to wear those extremely short skirts. I don't think she's wearing an extremely short skirt. She's wearing a pretty modest skirt. Like, it's not long, but it's not a particularly short skirt. With those shorts underneath. I mean, they're just clothes. She can wear whatever the fuck she wants, as long as she doesn't bend over. I mean, if the makers of the game and the camera are like bending her over and like doing panty shots stuff, like fuck that shit. And like, yeah, she's not an actual person, so she doesn't like have agency in a certain regard. But like, I don't know. It's weird to like be focused on that or like making that rule set. It's just like, the game doesn't do it. Don't worry about it. Why exactly was Amarang the focus point to stop the flood of light? Because there had to be somewhere. And it was a good place, and there was a good place to station people from. And also, if you think about it, in terms of population bases, right? I would speculate that this is already lost. All of this is lost, and there isn't a lot of population around any of these areas except for Amarang. Like, Amarang's the only place where there's a civilization that, like, standing near the flood, and the closest civilization to being about to be swept up and away, and population center. So that would be my hypothesis. I thought you said center, I thought you meant something different, but now I understand. White chlorination, very different. But yeah, because Minfilly is a troll, look at that. Steam Deck is coming Wednesday. Cool cat. I think I shall do the Sage Job quest. I have 0 clue on healing. Yeah, Sage Job quest is great. Does a good job of teaching the basics of healing. But the dissipation of sin eaters be inconsistent. Some are instant, some take forever. Yeah, I mean that's the same way though with people in Aether. That's because like it's effectively Aether is leaking out, and then eventually the thing breaks down and becomes fully ambient. That's not just sin eaters. That's anything and everything that's etheric based in 14. Yeah, no, I saw with the top clear. Yeah, but like I'm not gonna speak about that because I don't know. I haven't looked into that, and so that's saying other people did stuff. And until I go check and see the proof, I don't want to start throwing accusations out. I don't want to like start just acknowledging them or spreading them. So it may be very well true, but I want to go check that first. I do think it's cool aesthetic with the solid wall of light with the broken towers of the city. Totally, I love like that they're crafted into it. Fucking looks phenomenal. It's just a matter of time. More for some, less for others. Those patient will all become monsters in the end. And to add insult to injury, the affected are feared, shunned, cast out of society, and exiled here to the edge of the world. The only good thing I have to say about this hellish place is that it has served me well as a training ground. Teslin and others have also been kind enough to share the knowledge of the Sin Eaters, which is knowledge I can now share with you. Well, you helped me finish my patrol, of course. Right, but Kat, that's not my point. I need to see that video, and I need to check that the person that leaked that video is reputable, right? Like, otherwise you're just spreading rumor. I don't even know that video is, like, verifiably real. Like, maybe it is, but I have not had a chance to do that yet. So that's not the point. Here's what we'll do. I'll take the east side of the inn and you clear the west. That way you can have an undiluted experience with the resident terrors. These marks on your map are the usual spots. You can assume that any beast with a white head or carapace is a Sin Eater, but you'll know for sure soon enough when they come slavering at your Aether. Remember, it's kill or be killed with these monsters. Once you've slain whatever's prowling around there, we can rendezvous back at the north entrance. Good hunting. Night, Tracy! Yeah, we're gonna fish Amarang and then we'll call it there for the night. Pan de chocolat and coffee for breakfast. Ooh, that sounds delicious. Oh, I'm so hungry. I haven't eaten yet today. I'm gonna eat after stream. It'll be delicious. I gotta figure out what I gotta get. Forgiven cowardice. So I would also recommend paying attention to what each Sin Eater's name is, as it tends to have something to do with the person in life. and either the cause of or part of what led to their transformation. The road that we walk is lost in the flood. Your proud angels battle in their way. The road that we walk is lost in the flood. When proud angels bathe in their wages of blood at this, the world's end to be cast off tomorrow. Okay, you're just saying the Shadowbringers lines. Okay. Cowardice is a common thing brought up in 4, isn't it? I mean, kind of. I'm not sure what the like reference point for like all the other. I mean, like yeah, but I don't know like, how specific that is. I mean, that's more just talking about because of not really so much as cowardice, but the not abiding by acting morally and choosing to I mean like which is like, you know, being coward in the face of choosing the moral obligation, right? Or like for instance what Cecil and you know, forsaking his duty to people for his duty to as a Dark Knight, you know. There's many things that I love about Shadowbringers. One of the things I don't like is the regular fight theme. Oh really? I love it. I think it's weird and like different. It's not my favorite. Do you not? What do you not like about it, Adia? Shadowbringer fight themes are probably my favorite. I mean, like that's the thing though. Like someone's favorite is, you know, there's always someone's favorite. Someone's favorite is ARR, right? Favorites are tough. Turn off the overworld fight theme at some point and keep forgetting to turn the music back on. Well, now's a good time. Feels too slow. Interesting. I wonder what I would actually love to look at, like what the BPM for it versus the others is, because it doesn't feel any slower to me, but that'd be a fascinating juxtaposition. Oh, I'm not alone. I thought I was the alone here in the bad takes corner. It's not a bad take. I mean, what also like the take is that it's not your fate. Like you don't love it, right? Like if you guys went like, oh, it's a terrible song, you know, then I might like be like, I don't know, it's terrible. But like, yeah, it's not a bad take to have preferences. How did you fare? I thought there might only be 1 or 2 lurking on the fringes. Nothing out of the ordinary for this area. I expect you notice it yourself, but individually these lesser sin eaters are no more deadly than any natural predator you might encounter in the desert. It's when they appear in numbers that they pose a threat. Much like the Void Scent, they have an unfortunate tendency to flock to the strongest of their kind. Thus, when the powerful sin eaters go on the hunt, it might be attended by a veritable swarm of weaker kin. Imagine an army of such creatures descending on a village or hamlet. That's the basic idea behind my patrols, to cover their ranks often enough that their numbers won't be overwhelming when the big ones come out to play. And you've certainly helped on that front. Let's report our victories to Tesleen, shall we? Edgy battle music for an edgy expansion. I do like Flood of Darkness animation since it's one of the Cecil used before. AC, are you okay? You've just been like on a nothing but like on a older Final Fantasy bent, and I'm just like, is it that you've been playing them and just want to talk about them or something? Black Flame, good to see, glad to have you. It's not terrible, but I strongly dislike it. Oh, strongly, okay. I think it's jarring and obnoxious, especially every time you get jumped. Yeah, I guess like I don't see any more jarring as the other ones, but yeah. Some people might find the use of distortion guitar in quasi-medieval fantasy game to be distracting, but like all of Shadowbringers is like, most of Shadowbringers uses orchestral or does that. Like uses distortion guitar as like a way of imparting that you're in another realm, right? Like and using synth and like that's, I guess to me like that's Shadowbringers to a T and very, very intentional, you know? Which intentionality doesn't necessarily mean good, but my favorite regular enemy theme fight might be Heaven's Word. Oh, see, I find that one so boring. Oh, see, you know, but there you go. That's fascinating. I think probably my favorite right now might be Endwalker. I think it might just be the most. Okay, have a good day, Deathberry. I'm almost done with dinner making lunch for the week. I hope everyone has a great day. Hope you have a great day, Deathberry. I think it's just a jarring thing to be in the middle of his own music and swaps of battle music and back. Yeah, I guess like to me, but that would be true of any of them, you know, songs. Alice tells me you helped out on her patrol. You have our thanks, and my apologies for leading you from one battle to another ever since the moment we met. In any case, I'm glad to see the two of you found each other. You have no idea how badly Alice has missed your company.
Everything is always, if Elio were here, he would. That's an exaggeration, and I don't sound like that, either. I was simply trying to view matters from another perspective, and I respect Elio's methods. Honestly, after seeing him in action, I can understand why. The way he leaps into the fray without hesitation, it really is something to behold. I might be a little smitten myself. I'm only teasing, though I've no doubt he deserves all the admiration he gets, just as you do. Does she have the same lines if you're female? Eh. I'd love to lay out the welcome meal, but the duties I put off when I went to the market are still waiting for me. There's 101 things that I need doing. I'm sorry, but would you mind waiting here with Alice? What, and twiddle our thumbs while you work yourself to death? Surely there's something we can help you with. I could do with a hand, it's true. Thank you. You can start by helping me sort out the larder, Alice. While we do that, could you tend to a few patients, perhaps? There are 3 in particular I meant to visit. It's just a matter of saying a few words to them and seeing that their skin isn't caked in sand. Their names are Pawnee, Todden, and Halric. They may not give much in way of response, but I promise they'll be pleased to meet someone here. Same lines. Alice about to throw hands. She does. Okay, cool. Play females. Okay, cool. Tells the bards to hide their electric guitars. I think my favorite is actually the AR theme. Yeah. Also the ATB. Okay, now you're just saying opinions about 4. Okay, I was bored, so I had to do something reviews. Okay. I wondered why bitter chocolate exists. Because some people like bitter, because bitter, it tastes good to some people. Like, I can't stand bitter. Bitter's just a negative, but a lot of people like bitter as a flavor. Thank you. Todden glances up at you blankly, but you notice the tension in his face ease slightly. I like milk chocolate and white chocolate. I can't stand dark chocolate, unless it's like in a chocolate chip cookie with milk. Halric remains utterly still as you wipe the sand from his cheek. The texture of his skin has hardened into something akin to plaster. You've seen to the patients, then? How were they? Good, that's good. I knew they would enjoy meeting you. I'm concerned about Halric, though. I'll have to speak with the other carers, but I think his time may be near. We shall leave you to have that discussion, then. I was going to take Elio to Mort Sulk, if you have any errands there that need doing. Well, I suppose there's one thing. Would you pick up Citrine from the markets, please? Cassard's caravan just passed through, so Ron should have some fresh fruit. Come then, Elio. There's something I want you to see, right after we stop at Ron's stall, of course. Ooh, we're actually running tight on time. We may have to pick this up tomorrow. We'll see. Man, I didn't remember how much there was to it. I didn't detune, did I? Nope. Because I'm a dumbass. Dark chocolate is best chocolate. Blink, can I honestly, actually, do you mean that truly, or do you just trolling me as usual? I can never tell anymore. I never had a problem with Shadowbringer soundtrack. I'm a big metalhead, so the use of electric guitar was unexpected welcome for me. No, I mean, I find this fascinating because I had not even considered it being a disliked one, so it's interesting. But no, I'm with you, like, I guess for me, like, the thing about the distortion guitar is one, like, the use of rock and stuff had always been already a part of things, but then the increase towards, like, when you're representing an alien land that's supposed to be other and, like, weird, using something like distortion, using something like synth, like, having that language of music works so well for me. Now, I know that that's, like, a different conversation than, like, oh, is the mixing jarring for when it comes in? But I kind of, like, love that it's, like, a, like, it's like, fighting, you know? Okay, guys, I'll let you vote. Should we pause for today, seeing as we're running out of time? Or should I try to push it and see if we can get a little further? The thing is, we've got quite a few cutscenes to go.
Oh ho! Back again, are you? You need another taste of Run-Run's wares. Actually, we're looking to buy a nectarine. Do you have any in stock? What did I say last time? Nectarine or something? It's just a nectarine. Yes, nectarines, peaches, grapes, fresh and juicy. Given how richly you cracked your coin purse, and with me, I might still owe you food. Here, take this one, free of charge. Shadowbringer's boss theme is fire. I will stand by that. Gods, I've never seen a Mord merchant give away something for nothing before. How much coin did you spend here? Oh yes, I'll take a jar of honeyed worms as well. Oh no, they're not for me. It's an offering of sorts. The worms, if you please. Only the best regulars for you. Come again, my friends. Right, that's our shopping chores taken care of. Let's head up past the Aetheryte to the main tower. The view I want to show you can only be seen from its very top. I am the one all my friends give their dark chocolate to since I'm the only one who will eat it. Well, Des, you can have my dark chocolate. Phrasing. The process of making chocolate is fascinating. Hey, see, I appreciate you, man. Watching how the ferment cook with. Yeah, the process of making chocolate is fascinating. I mean, I don't like bitter very much, but Hershey's Special Dark is chef's kiss. I love dark chocolate. It's my favorite. Same with black licorice. But if y'all are enjoying, keep going. If you end now, you can take your time tomorrow through cutscenes without feeling much need towards. I think I might do that. We're gonna finish this and we'll be off. Here are your precious worms. That buys us a trip to the top of the tower, does it not? Glazed wigglers, you actually brought them. I really shouldn't let you, but it's, just this one's alright, only once. Never fails, shall we? Although ambient and eerie Shadowbringers music is seriously the kind of shit I can vibe out to. Yeah. Well, remember, we'll be playing tomorrow.
Look,
too.
Over there, where the wall is broken. Do you see what lies beyond? That's what the land became after the light flooded in. An empty white nothingness. Life cannot exist in such conditions. The primordial light would wreak havoc on the body's etheric balance.
So it's different than the burn. It's important.
That nectarine you bought. It's Halric's favorite fruit. Most of the patients, Halric included, survived the attacks of powerful eaters. But their fate was sealed all the same. The monster's corruption has entered their bodies, and their very essence is being subsumed by light. The twisted state of the world itself just makes matters worse. Under normal circumstances, a person's ether naturally tends to equilibrium. But for these poor souls, the opposite is true. Sooner or later, every single one of them will turn. Hydaelyn and the patients, they all know this. They know what has to be done before the change goes too far, before the eater within takes over. The preferred method is mixing poison into their favorite food. In my time here, I've borne witness to a lot of last meals.
Oh, I had forgotten that.
I feel just as helpless as before. No matter how hard I fight, it's never enough. But it's a war I mean to wage, nonetheless. Speaking of wars, do you remember how I made you promise not to leave me and then promptly collapsed? Well, let's just say I had a few choice words for the Exarch concerning the timing of his summons. But even if the fault lay with someone else, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd abandon you on the battlefield. So I swore that I'd make up for my absence there by making a difference here. And that's
Do
what
what you
keeps me
can where you
moving
can.
forward, even when things seem hopeless.
Do what you can where you can for as long as you can. All three parts of those are important.
On which note, it's time we headed back. The longer we keep Tesleen waiting, the harder this will be for her.
Alice can't save the world. She can't go back to the source. But she can help here, and she can do what she can to make things better for as long as she can. Right? That's valuable. Just because it's a long defeat doesn't mean that it's somehow valueless. I'm glad I was able to show you that. When it comes to understanding the catastrophe which befell the first, one glimpse of the empty wasteland beyond the wall is worth more than an hour of Eorzean's lecturing. And I needed you to know beyond a doubt that Tesleen has no other choice. The nectarine will be a kindness. It isn't just the threat posed to others. When a person becomes an eater, the pain appears to be excruciating. The Carers are truly fond of their wards and would spare them that suffering. It is their way of fighting back against a fate worse than death. Okay, and that's where we're gonna call it. I'm gonna head over to the Crystarium. Well, I'm gonna have to sync up. I'm gonna have to change my fucking teleport point for the first time in forever. This was a scene that MER doesn't hear me upset my friend head. Yeah. Why did they put so much weight on the nectarine? It's so sad because, you know, it's sad because it matters, right? It's sad because they're trying to, you know, help. Where are you guys? Do I get a hint? I wanted to ask you a question in game, and I'm definitely not ready to do that. But you should probably pace yourself and cut off here. Artemis, if you want to, whenever you're ready, you can message to me. I mean, you can always whisper to me anytime. You can always message me on the Discord. Whatever works. To be honest, I need to go cook eat some. So yeah, I think everybody's a bit tired. So, so I've never been anything before Elio. Yeah, okay, Blade. So you haven't eaten yet, so just to go ahead and end. Okay, chocolate milk. Green Kit Kats from Japan are good. There's a lot more from Japan as well. That face, your black licorice reaction. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't like licorice. I don't like licorice. Found a tree. Cabinet of Curiosities. Wait, Cabinet of Curiosities? There's a tree at the Cabinet of Curiosities? Shadowbring is one of those things that I wish I could re-experience for the first time again, like Ocarina of Time. I feel that. What I would say is that I think it's so wonderful that experiencing a second time can be just as great in different ways, because even though there isn't surprise, there's so much wonderful depth you may have missed the first time. You guys picked, he was like, okay, we gotta pick a tree. What if we picked the most tree possible? Look at you beautiful bastards. Look at how many of you guys. Guys, I don't know if you know this, but I think we're a community. I know that sounds stupid to say, but it's awesome. And I love being here with you. And I'm sorry for anyone who's experienced me over the past, like, week. You may have seen me a little bit, like, annoyed lately. And it's just, I don't know, I've been weirdly, like, tired and cranky or whatever. But just know, like, love you guys. Every one of you. And I love you guys when you hang out with each other. I love watching you guys all in voice hang out with each other. And look, we don't always get everything right all the time, right? You know, like I'm not always perfect, but I love knowing that we're trying to make something where at least there's more people interconnected, connecting with each other and making something meaningful in a space, right? You can't control that the world's not perfect, but you can make little joys, right? You can make something here. I don't know. But it's Monday, so don't forget, it's Bean's gonna be doing maps after stream. So if you would like to do current maps, you can definitely go do those. I guess time to do the whole spiel, right? If you want to support us, you can join us over on Patreon where you can get your name. Oh, actually, is the thing still broken? Oh, it's been broken this whole time. I gotta fix that. I'm sorry. For those of you who are on Patreon, your name should be in the banner above my head, but it broke and I've been trying to fix it. I think OBS just is being funky. If one of the mods could remind me after stream to double check to try and fix that again. Beyond that, though, if you want to support us, you can also do super chats here where you can get me to say weird, funny little shit in the conversation thing, and I'll do subtle voices or do the Deadpool, all sorts of fun little stuff. But anyways,
On top of that, you can also get membership. Will get you access to the fun emotes like the little Ray Rays that Brian is using up over in there right now. If you like our content, you can always watch our streams over on Monday and Tuesday. We put out new videos typically every week. We've been a little bit off the past month or so because we've been kind of like building up a backlog, taking our time, and kind of just enjoying delving into like spending more time with you guys. I've been taking my free time that I would be making videos sometimes and instead just doing running stuff with you guys because it's, you know, playing the game, you know, actually matters and spending time with you guys matters. If you'd like to join one of our FCs, we have an FC on Crystal Curl, which is our main, which is like where you'll find me. We also have one in, we have a Euro TFC in Chaos Phantom as well as a Dynamis Seraph one. And you can DM me or any of the mods in order to find it. We have a Twitter where Ray loves to post little funny things she finds around the world as well as interesting lore facts for the Eorzean Archive lore. If you like the written format, we have a lore website over on the eorzeanarchives.com. Astro, Deidre, and Leia just finally got home. Sorry, Astro, we are just signing off here. However, there is maps afterwards, so if you want to hang with people, you're more than able to hang with Bean and everybody else who's about to go do maps together. On top of that, there's always the VOD, so I'd always recommend watching that. It supports us if you watch the VOD as well. Yeah, that should be just about everything. I'm just gonna take a second, see if anyone needs to say anything and also has any questions or anything. Oh, also, I'm gonna potentially get to interview Susan Calloway, the singer for Answers. I do not have a timeline for when that's going to happen yet, but if you have a specific question you would like to potentially ask her, you can try to forward it to me and I can try to see if I can work it in or if it works well. On top of that, it will probably be a live interview, so if you want to attend that, you're more than welcome to. You can do what you can. You can do what you can where you can, yeah. Sounds like you have the winter blahs. Yeah, definitely, Catherine. I think I've been just a little cranky because of the winter and less sun and stuck inside. Anyone have EU characters that would like to do roulettes? Yeah, so right now, Lightheart is over. The EU character would love to have some help running and learning healers. So if you have an EU character in and want to run some roulettes, go join up with Light. You can also find him on the Discord. Boy, I'm definitely not messaging you in game if you're all the way in the Crystarium. I'm still in free trial. Okay, well, Artemis, let me know what I can do for you. Okay, whatever question you got. I mean, also, you can just type in my name, Artemis, and you can whisper me. Or if we're friends, you can just go into your list, go to friends list, click on whoever, and just send tell. So you can always message me that way. Absolutely, E-Machine. Everyone have a great night. Yeah, everybody have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Thanks, Bean. Thank you, V, and thank you, Ray, for all your hard work. Much appreciated. And Brian, thank you for all the work you do behind the scenes as well. Night, everybody.